The next page is the cover of Nintendo Dream, Volume 79, dated December 6, 2002. It features promotional artwork for Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire. The left side showcases May and Groudon, while the right side has Brendan and Kyogre. The cover also advertises Eternal Darkness, Star Fox Adventures, and Kirby, Nightmare in Dreamland, as well as Mario Party 4, Biohazard Zero, and Super Monkey Ball 2. Additionally, it mentions an interview for Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2. This page is a full-page advertisement for One Piece Treasure Battle on the Nintendo GameCube. It features the Straw Hat Pirates crew and highlights the game's 4-player team battles, treasure-grabbing gameplay, and anime-style graphics. There are also smaller ads for PlayStation 2 games like Hack/Infection Volume 1, Hack/Mutation Volume 2, SD Gundam G Generation Neo, and Simple Character 2000 series titles, such as Mobile Fighter G Gundam, The Battle, New Mobile Report Gundam W, The Battle, Nante Tante Idol, The Jigsaw Puzzle, and Cyborg 009, The Block Kazushi. The next page is an advertisement for Kinnikuman 2, Generations on the Nintendo GameCube. It advertises the game's release date of November 22, 2002, and a special pre-order bonus of a Kinnikuman 2 vs 10 figure set. Also highlights the Story Mode, Versus Mode, Tournament Mode, Kinikeshi Mode, and Superhuman Recruitment Mode. The next page is a full-page advertisement for Mario Party 4 on the Nintendo GameCube. The ad proclaims, "Welcome to Mario Party," and highlights the game's 3D boards and over 60 new minigames. It features Mario and his friends standing on platforms, surrounded by stars. The game was released on November 8th, with a suggested retail price of 6,800 yen. Please provide the text you would like me to summarize. The next page is a full-page advertisement for the Nintendo GameCube game, Eternal Darkness. The tagline reads, "Illusion or Reality?" It features prominent artwork of characters and imagery from the game, and is summarized as being about a psychological adventure game that explores themes of illusion and reality. The advertisement lists the release date as October 25th, Friday, and the suggested retail price as 6,800 yen. There is a warning stating the game contains shocking scenes of gun violence, regular violence, and gore. This page is a Reader's Prize giveaway presented by Nintendo Dream, with a contest deadline of December 5, 2002, and winner announcements in Nintendo Dream Volume 81. Prizes include a Nintendo GameCube, Game Boy Advance, a memory card 251, and a GameCube controller. Also up for grabs are Ace Attorney 2 character illustrations, as well as signed copies of bestseller Game Talks by Kazue Asano, Toshikazu Ida, and Kazumi 1, plus a GameCube copy of Eternal Darkness, and the game Contra Hard Spirits for the Game Boy Advance. There's also a Caught by Backlund book, an Ayai hand towel, Metal Gunslinger keychains, signed Metal Gunslinger posters, and a Nintendo GameCube carrying bag. The next page offers a monthly calendar from November to December 2002, showcasing upcoming game releases and events. An event highlighted is the Games Japan Festa in Osaka 2002 on November 9th and 10th, where you can experience new games, including a demo of The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. Key game releases featured in the calendar include Pokémon Ruby and Pokémon Sapphire on November 21st for the GBA, Biohazard Zero, Resident Evil Zero, and Super Monkey Ball 2. Additionally, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets for the GameCube and GBA, and Rockman X3, Mega Man Battle Network 3, are shown. The page mentions the usual holiday shopping season beginning, and games like Animal Crossing, Mario Advance 2, and Majora were popular the previous year, while pointing out a loaded lineup of games for the GC this year. This page is a Nintendo Hyper Ranking from the magazine, covering GameCube and Game Boy Advance sales charts from October 7th to October 20th. The top-selling games are listed with their sales figures. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2 leads the charts, followed by the legendary Starfy and Star Fox Adventures. Other games in the top 20 include Super Mario Advance 3, Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2, Super Mario Sunshine, and various titles from the Dragon Ball Z, Mega Man Battle Network, and Super Smash Bros. Series. The page also highlights anticipated upcoming releases, with The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, topping the list, followed by Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire. There is a section discussing DVD playback on the GameCube, noting that many Nintendo Dream readers have access to DVD players. The next page is a report on the Super Smash Bros. DX #1 decision battle held at the Toys R Us Toy Festival 2002, attracting a large crowd of fans. Masahiro Sakurai, the director of the game, also attended. The finals were a one-on-one battle with Mario, Zelda, Samus, and Link as the most used characters. Mario emerged victorious. The page highlights that the festival also featured other popular games like Kirby, Nightmare in Dreamland, and Sonic Mega Collection. There are photos of event attendees dressed as Link, a large Kirby character for photos, and performers in Sonic and Shadow costumes. There's also an interview with the winner, Atsushi Sasagawa, 17, who used Mario, and the runner-up, Shuichi Yamada, 17, who used Zelda. The next page covers the Halloween event in Phantasy Star Online, noting its limited time availability until November 4th. The event includes pumpkin decorations in lobbies and special quests. The page highlights online quests such as Stolen Ice Spinner, set in caves, and features player-splitting mazes and challenging puzzles requiring cooperation. A notice is posted for the third Nindori Gathering, scheduled for November 21st. There is also an advert for the upcoming Sega New Product Experience, scheduled for November at locations across Japan. The page also showcases the monthly Nintendo Store demo for November, featuring 5 playable titles: Mario Party 4, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, Biohazard, Kinnikuman 2, and Mr. Driller. Some titles have comments from Miyamoto. There is also a list of titles available on the A and B discs. This page highlights Kirby merchandise and the Kirby Right Back at Ya anime's second year, showcasing various Takara products. Products include interactive Poption Kirby, Papu Adventure board game, Pon Pon illustration stencils, and Puyo Puyo Kirby plushie. DVD Volume 4, featuring Chef Kawasaki and episodes 10 to 12, is also available, with a contest offering it to 3 winners. Namco's Choco Vader GBA game, including Space War Choco Vader Contactee with 24 minigames, is also announced. The page previews upcoming anime episodes, including comedic storylines featuring King Day. Finally, it mentions the Game Awards 20,012,002, with Animal Crossing and Pikmin taking the grand prize. This page features a selection of game recommendations from Mario Club, including Mario Party 4 for the GameCube, praised for its visuals, sound, and the addition of 2-player team battles alongside the classic 4-player mode. The game boasts over 60 minigames and adjustable difficulty settings. Next up is Kirby, Nightmare in Dreamland for the Game Boy Advance, lauded for its visuals and engaging gameplay. It highlights the cooperative 4-player mode and its accessibility. Additionally, from TV animation One Piece, Treasure Battle for the GameCube, based on the popular anime, is mentioned for its impressive 3D character models and voice acting. The game features a treasure hunting mode for up to 4 players. The page also has a section titled Misuzu Link's News Dream, featuring artwork of Link and a segment named Misuzu's Photo Studio, where someone is getting an autograph. The page also covers a book release event for Bestseller Gameika Kaigi, Bestseller Game Conversion Conference, featuring authors and guests discussing behind-the-scenes stories. The event took place at Shinjuku Loft +1, with attendees enjoying drinks while listening to the talks. The next page is titled Autumn Game Selection and highlights games to play during the autumn season. It showcases Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire for the Game Boy Advance, set to release on November 21st. The page features artwork of May, Torchic, Trico, and Mudkip, key Pokémon from the game. A small screenshot shows a battle. Also featured is Biohazard Zero, Resident Evil Zero, for the Nintendo GameCube, releasing on the same day. A character is pictured in a screenshot, possibly Rebecca Chambers. This page, titled Autumn Game Selection, continues to highlight Nintendo GameCube games perfect for the fall season. It features Mario Party 4, released on November 8th, with Mario holding a green mushroom. A minigame screenshot shows characters in a seaside level. Super Monkey Ball 2, releasing November 21st, stars AI holding a maple leaf. A screenshot demonstrates the game's perspective and gameplay. Kinnikuman 2-sei, Shinseidai Choujin vs. Densetsu Choujin, Ultimate Muscle, Legends vs. New Generation. Released November 22nd, shows a wrestler performing a move. The page references the anime and manga series, Kinnikuman, which is about superhuman wrestlers. This page introduces the starter Pokemon from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. The text asks, which Pokemon will be your partner? It features the 3 starter Pokemon, Torchic, Mudkip, and Trico. Each Pokemon is accompanied by a short description about its type and weaknesses. The page also includes promotional text like, only 15 days left until the new adventure begins. Meet the new Pokemon soon. Below the Pokemon images are the logos for Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Sapphire. The bottom half of the page features a section called System Story, Final Check. A screenshot shows gameplay, and a blurb mentions that the reviewer is looking forward to exploring the Hoenn region with its map and story. Also included are the game title, developer, Pokemon Company, release date, November 21st, and price, 4,800 yen. The game is an RPG for 14 players and supports the GBA dedicated communication cable. The next page covers Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, focusing on the protagonist and Professor Birch, who is also known as Professor Odamaki. The article starts by introducing the setting of the Hoenn region and the protagonist's move to Littleroot Town. It mentions meeting Professor Birch and choosing a starter Pokemon to help him from a wild Pokemon attack. The page highlights that you can choose the protagonist's gender at the start of the game, which slightly alters the roles of characters in the story. Screenshots show gameplay, while descriptions indicate Professor Birch is a field researcher rather than someone who stays in the lab. The page explains that after rescuing Professor Birch, you receive a Pokemon as thanks, and introduces Haruka, a girl with a lovely name, who is Professor Birch's daughter if you choose the male protagonist, and a boy with a mischievous nature if you pick the female protagonist. The next page highlights Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, delving into the distinctive Pokemon that inhabits the Hoenn region. The article spotlights Groudon and Kyogre, 2 legendary Pokemon crucial to the storyline. It also mentions Pokemon with unique abilities, such as Sharpedo, and touches upon Pokemon contests. Screenshots showcase battles, Pokemon stat screens, and contest venues, discussing the strategy of using conditions to excel in contests, and selecting the right Poffin flavor to enhance a Pokemon's traits. This page provides details on helpful items in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, particularly focusing on the Pokenav, which functions as a Pokedex. This updated Pokedex design resembles a foldable communication device and is acquired after defeating Professor Birch's child. The Pokenav is described as a multifunctional tool, equipped with the Hoenn map, Trainer's Eye, and condition check features. The page also explains how to make Poffins to boost your Pokemon's conditions for contests, using berries like Oricarian berries and Pecha berries, and how berry blending works at a Pokemon blender. Furthermore, it touches upon the usefulness of berries in battles, such as the restoration of HP and obtaining berries from trees. Finally, there's a note on the Trainer's Eye, which records information about defeated trainers for rematches. The next page details the communication and battle features in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. It introduces the Coliseum for battles, the Trade Center for exchanging Pokemon, and the new Record Corner for communication. The page highlights 3 battle formats: single battles, double battles, 2v2, and multi-battles, 4 players. It explains that players can create secret bases in small caves and decorate them. You can even visit friends' secret bases by communicating through the Record Corner. Visiting friends' secret bases also allows you to encounter characters based on the main character, and this increases the number of secret bases. This page is about the differences between Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, focusing on the teams and characters unique to each version. While the main story remains the same, the appearance rate of Pokemon and the villainous teams differ. In Ruby, Team Magma, led by Groudon, seeks to expand the land, while in Sapphire, Team Aqua, led by Kyogre, aims to increase the sea. These teams have conflicting ambitions and constantly battle for territory. The dialogue and characters in certain scenes change depending on the version played. Team Magma's outfit is reminiscent of a mole, with a large hood, while Team Aqua's costumes resemble pirates. In Ruby, you'll hear, "Crush Team Aqua," and "Save the Earth," while in Sapphire it's, "Crush Team Magma," and "Increase the water." The page also notes that the encounter locations and rates of certain Pokemon vary between versions. Cooperation with friends who have the other version is essential to complete the Pokedex. Although the trainers may have different looks depending on the version, the Pokemon they use remain the same. The common trainers featured are the Hiker, who specializes in Rock-type Pokemon, and the Lady, who carries many Monster Balls in her basket. The next page is a full-page advertisement for Resident Evil Zero, or Biohazard Zero, in Japan. It features Rebecca Chambers and Billy Cohen in a tense pose, guns drawn, inside what appears to be a mansion. The tagline reads, "The time will come, the door will open, you will enter the world of survival horror." It also states the release date as November 21st. It says, "Coming just soon." This page is a Resident Evil Zero ad, highlighting that it is a GameCube exclusive. The game's title, release date, November 21st, price, 7,800 yen, and genre, survival horror, are noted. A screenshot shows Rebecca Chambers in a dimly lit room, along with a tagline, "To be careful." A reviewer's thoughts on the game are included, mentioning the emphasis on organic sensation and the new partner zapping system. The next page showcases Resident Evil Zero, highlighting its trap-based puzzles. It mentions that the game involves solving traps, a hallmark of the series, and utilizes the partner zapping system, requiring players to switch between Rebecca and Billy to overcome obstacles. Several screenshots show different locations, including a bar, a library, and a room with a grand piano. The article discusses riddles and puzzles, such as one involving 6 souls and another involving a statue of a goddess of balance with scales. The puzzles include a riddle on a gate and also feature other creatures, such as a snake and a horse, also with riddles. The page ends by noting how the game continues to offer challenging puzzles. This page continues to spotlight Resident Evil Zero, focusing on some of the traps and puzzles players will encounter. First up is the hookshot launcher, an item used to reach high places. Then, there's a numerical puzzle that tests memory and calculation skills, requiring players to input the correct numbers within a limited time. The page also touches on the water and fire motif, mentioning that the game features numerous doors, many of which are locked and require specific keys to proceed. One screenshot shows a key with a fire emblem. It is noted the player will need to locate a water key. Another section talks about powering water gates, explaining that players must find the correct button among many to open the gates, with all green indicating success. The page concludes with a discussion of doors guarded by armored knights, hinting that they can't be opened with ordinary keys. Screenshots show the characters encountering these knights, guarding a door with crossed swords. It mentions similar doors appear in more than one location. The next page dives into the world of Resident Evil and its characters, specifically focusing on the ill-fated S.TARS Bravo team. It sets the scene. A biohazard incident in the Arklay Mountains, with the team sent in to investigate a series of bizarre murders. Unbeknownst to them, they're about to face unimaginable horrors. The page introduces key members of the Bravo team, including Enrico Marini, the team's second-in-command, described as experienced and well-respected. Other members, such as Kenneth J. Sullivan, Forrest Spire, Edward Dewey, and Richard Aiken, are shown with their character stats, including age, blood type, height, and weight. This page focuses on main and key characters from Resident Evil Zero. Main characters features Billy Cohen, a 26-year-old ex-Marine sentenced to death for the 23-person massacre. He escapes during transport and teams up with Rebecca Chambers after fighting monsters on a train. The page also introduces Rebecca Chambers, an 18-year-old STARS rookie and expert in pharmaceuticals. She's described as a prodigy who graduated from university and was selected for the Bravo team as a medical specialist. Key persons highlights Albert Wesker, the 38-year-old captain of STAR, described as intelligent and extremely capable, but with a shadowy past. William Birkin, a 32-year-old umbrella scientist, is also featured. He is devoted to his research, developing the GA virus. And a mysterious young man of unknown age and origins, featured for the first time. And it asks how he is related to the events of the game. There are also several screenshots of the characters in-game. The next page is an advertisement for Mario Party 4 on the Nintendo GameCube, highlighting minigames and gameplay. It emphasizes collecting coins and stars, moving strategically, and last-minute comebacks. The page features screenshots of gameplay, including minigames, item usage, and event scenarios. The bottom section lists minigame results, item effects, and event outcomes, with the aim of the game being to collect the most stars and ultimately win. This page continues the Mario Party 4 guide, offering tips for victory. It mentions that luck is a factor in Mario Party, but also provides strategies to increase your chances of winning. The guide advises against aiming for stars that are difficult to reach, and instead suggests changing direction. Landing on spaces can trigger various events, and repeatedly landing on them increases your chances of earning a happening star at the end of the game. Using mini Goombas can help you land on these spaces. It recommends aiming to stop the roulette in specific locations when using warp spaces, or for swapping positions. By accounting for the movement when pressing the button, the guide emphasizes the importance of having more coins than your rivals, and warns about unnecessary spending. It also highlights that the winner is determined by the number of stars, and in the event of a tie, the player with the most coins wins. Finally, it highlights various stages in Mario Party 4, with tips for Waku Waku Party. Pay attention to the coffee cups which change your destination. Doki Doki Party, avoid overspending on the roulette. Hara Hara Party, use the available travel options. Yahia Party, beware of the red boo. And Uki Uki Party. Both spaces may be able to transport you across the ocean. Mario Party 4 minigame tips cover various types, including 4-player, 2v2, 1v3, battle-specific, and Bowser-themed games. Strategies are provided for specific games, like Iroiro Stamp, largest painted area wins. Kawashite, Yuki Gassen, snowball dodging. Kuru Kuru Puzzle, fast 8-piece puzzle assembly. Go-Go, skydive, coin collection. Ski to dash, fastest slide. Zeroion Grand Prix, fastest to the goal. Nukidase, big slime, button mashing. Batando Domino, fast button mashing. Para Para Book, avoiding book holes. Balloon Shot, matching flag colors. And Free Throw, aiming for the top ring. Strategies emphasize factors like painting area, dodging snowballs, puzzle speed, coin collection, speed, button mashing, and aiming accuracy. This page is from Mario Party 4. It highlights a selection of new minigames that were available. The minigames included are Bombs Away Puzzle, where you use other people's blocks, Find a Catch, where you catch characters, Medley Swimming, where you use your stamina, Dig, and Number 1, where speed and accuracy are important, Waku Waku Diving, where you collect rings from the manta ray, Hurry Up, where you get on the douchey boat, Air Doosan, where two people sync up and hit the blocks, Kinopio Burger, where you try and find ingredients. Other minigames include Go-Go Parasailing, where you collect coins, Treasure Labyrinth, where you search for treasure, Puku Puku Scramble, where you scoop up the creatures, Buru Buru Climber, where you climb while avoiding shakes, Pair Race, where you jump, Bombs Away Kyoro Kyoro, where you separate buttons, Capsule Factory, where you run inside, and Go-Go Conveyor, where you place people in formation. Please provide the text you would like me to summarize. This page showcases 14 unique minigames from Mario Party 4. The first game is Puzzle, Riddle, Block, described as a reflection game. Next is Poco Poco Hammer, where players hammer kappas jumping out of furniture to earn points. Then there's Flipping 50, a game where luck is key. Players flip coins, trying to reach exactly 50 points. Finally, there is Recommended Big Board, a coin-collecting minigame where careful shopping is key. The next row features Snake, Tiny Board, where you guide a tiny character through a dangerous area, avoiding hazards. There's Challenge Flip Book, where the goal is to continue flipping pages in the Flip book until all players make a mistake. After that is Whirlpool Puzzle, a single-player jigsaw puzzle where memorization speeds up progress. And lastly, Aim, Petroleum King, a game where players select strong vibrations to dig up oil. The final row starts with Wiggle Diagnosis, where you identify vibrating patients. Then there's Where's the Door, a game of chance where players pick doors without strategy. After that is Bomb Scramble, where players avoid bomb explosions, and Goomba Stomp, where the goal is to defeat as many Goombas as possible in the given time. The next page focuses on Super Monkey Ball 2 for the Nintendo GameCube. It's billed as a party game with depth. The text highlights that the game isn't just an increase in quantity from the previous installment, but also a refinement in game quality. Specifically, Monkey Football and Monkey Fight 2 are mentioned, emphasizing the heated competition players can expect. There's a special Sega Crackdown feature, where the magazine's team challenges Sega's development studios in one of the game's 12-party games. If the magazine wins, they get prizes. If they lose, they have to fulfill the development studio's request. The first challenge shown is Monkey Race 2 against Segum 2. With the magazine team failing miserably, Segum 2's skill is overwhelming. The penalty for the magazine is that they had to request a sexy sticker from Beach Spikers. The second challenge is Monkey Fight 2 vs Smilebit, where the magazine team also loses, requesting a Yakyutsuku match. Screenshots from Monkey Race 2 and Monkey Fight 2 are shown. Monkey Race 2 is described as a high-speed race, where up to 8 players, including calm opponents, can participate. Mastering the acceleration plates is crucial. Monkey Fight 2 is depicted as a chaotic battle, where up to 4 players punch each other to knock opponents off the stage. This page is about Super Monkey Ball 2 for the Nintendo GameCube. The magazine staff battled against the game's developers in different game modes. First up is Monkey Football against Hitmaker. The staff lost 2 out of 3 matches, with the first loss due to an own goal. As a result, they have to fulfill a request of getting a taxi with an afro. The game has 4 different teams with unique formations and character types. The game has tension-filled PK battles. The simple controls are said to be easy to pick up but with hidden depth, and is said to be similar to the Virtua Striker series. Next, Monkey Bowling 2 is played against the product management team. The magazine lost, and have to hold a Sega Soccer Slam event. The special courses are very unique. Finally, Monkey Boat is played against Sega Rosso. The staff lost, and as a penalty, they have to promote Sega Rally, with ideas of selling cars. The game focuses on team play, and the controls for rowing the boat are said to be unique. This page features Super Monkey Ball 2, specifically highlighting Monkey Target 2 and Monkey Dogfight 2. In Monkey Target 2, there's a focus on collecting bananas for high scores and landing well. The game allows for formation flying, and grabbing items is crucial. Magnets help you stick to targets, and lucky stars double your score. Monkey Dogfight 2 involves a 3-minute aerial battle where shooting down rivals earns points. The magazine notes that, initially, it may be hard to grasp the mechanics, but mastering missile evasion leads to an enjoyable flying experience. Locking onto opponents and utilizing the environment is key. The article mentions a Sega Hard Towel set, a prize exclusive to Sega Direct. The next page dives into Monkey Baseball from Super Monkey Ball 2, described as a simple baseball game with potentially chaotic matches. It features a classic baseball game layout, introducing a roulette system that adds randomness to hits and outs. The page highlights the importance of strategic fielding shifts and utilizing the roulette to influence gameplay. It then showcases the game's story mode, following the Super Monkey Ball characters Alai, Mimi, Baby, and Gongon as they embark on a quest to retrieve bananas stolen by Dr. Bad Boon. The page is divided into sections showcasing 3 different worlds. In World 1, the monkeys must save the island from Dr. Bad Boon. World 2 involves stopping Drive Bad Boon from detonating bombs within a volcano. World 3 takes the monkeys underwater to confront Drive Bad Boon once again. The screenshots display gameplay and dialogue exchanges between the characters. This page highlights the game Kinnikuman Tusei, Dream Match Generation for the Nintendo GameCube. It showcases 4 new characters joining the fight: Bone Cold, Hanzu the Ninja, and King Bone Man. The page details Bone Cold as a new generation superhuman and the son of Kinnikuman's archrival, King Bone Man. The game promises dream matches between generations of Kinnikuman characters, with hidden characters unlockable through specific conditions. It also mentions original tag team combinations that result in unique tag names. The page also shows screenshots of the game in action, including Bone Cold's special move, Shooting Arrow, and a tag team combination featuring Bone Cold and King Bone Man. It gives information about the game's genre, number of players, and memory card requirements, and release date of November 22, 2002. This page continues with details on Kinnikuman Tusei, Dream Match Generation. It highlights several returning characters, including the Ninja, Gazelman, Kevin Mask, Jade, Checkmate, and Savannah Heat. The Ninja, originally an evil superhuman, turned to justice, and now fights as a righteous superhuman. He is proficient in a variety of ninja techniques. The page shows screenshots of the ninja using his special moves. Ninja Arts, Spiderweb Binding. Other characters include the Agile Gazelman, known for his sharp claws. Kevin Mask, the son of the legendary Robin Mask. Jade, a disciple of Brocken Jr. And Checkmate, a former evil superhuman trained by Sunshine. Finally, Savannah Heat is also mentioned. The page closes with a comment from reviewer Oka-chan, who enjoyed the game and its attention to detail. The next page showcases the various modes available in Kinnikuman 2-sei, Dream Match Generation. These include Story Mode, where hidden characters have their own storylines, and Tournament Mode, which supports up to 16 players in either single or tag team matches in the Superhuman Olympics or Tag Tournament. Also featured is a Character Creation Mode, allowing players to customize their own superhuman by combining different parts and choosing their personality and fighting style. These created characters can then be used in Versus Mode or Tournament Mode. The page also introduces a Kinkeshi collecting mode, where players can collect over 400 characters via Gashapon. Kin medals are required to play the Gashapon, and detailed descriptions of each Kinkeshi are provided, overseen by the original author, Yude Tamago Sensei. Finally, the page highlights 4 returning characters: Kinniku Suguru, Kinnikuman, Terryman, Ramenman, and Robin Mask. The next page delves into the tag team gameplay and special moves of Kinnikuman 2-sei, Dream Match Generation. It emphasizes the importance of building superhuman power to unleash devastating tag team techniques. The page details how to execute tag team attacks, focusing on maximizing the superhuman power gauge. It also showcases various Level 1, Level 2, and Level 3 special moves, like Kinnikuman's Fireplace Megaton Punch and Kinniku Driver, and the Muscle Spark tag team move. Several characters are highlighted with screenshots of their special attacks, including Buffaloman performing the Buffalo Bomb, Robin Mask, Brocken Jr. performing a tag team move with Ninja known as Magnetic Storm Crash, and Sunshine using a technique called Hell Realm Tour. This page is an advertisement for The Legend of Zelda, the Wind Waker for the Nintendo GameCube. It proclaims the game's imminent release. The game is set to release on December 13th and will cost 6,800 yen. It is an action-adventure game for one player, with the option for two-player co-op play. GCGBA cable support is required. The page also features a screenshot of Link in the game. The next page showcases the history of The Legend of Zelda series from 1986 to 2001. It highlights key titles like The Legend of Zelda for the Famicom, 1986, The Adventure of Link, 1987, for the Famicom Disk System, A Link to the Past, 1991, for the Super Famicom, Link's Awakening, 1993, for the Game Boy. Then it moves to Ocarina of Time, 1998, for the Nintendo 64, Majora's Mask, 2000, for the Nintendo 64, and Oracle of Seasons, Ages, 2001, for the Game Boy Color. The page is capped off with a mention of the imminent release of a new Zelda game on December 13, 2002. This page focuses on the upcoming The Legend of Zelda game, emphasizing what makes it special and exciting. It expresses anticipation for playing the game, slated for release on December 13th. The article highlights 2 main points. 1. Fantastic graphics. The reviewer notes the charming and cute depiction of Link, pointing out the importance of subtle light and shadow effects, smoke, and wave animations. They suggest that when viewed in motion, the graphics create a new Zelda experience. 2. Link's rich expressions. The author states that in previous games, Link was not very expressive, but in this new game, Link displays a wide range of emotions through his eyes and expressions, allowing players to feel the character's emotions like never before. Screenshots showcase various aspects of the game, including Link in different environments, interacting with objects, and displaying different emotions. The next page continues with features of the upcoming The Legend of Zelda game, focusing on aspects that make it highly desirable. It touches on 3 key points. Link's sister, Aryll. The page introduces Link's sister Aryll, marking the first time a family member appears in the Zelda series. It expresses curiosity about the sibling relationship and the story surrounding it. GBA connectivity. The GameCube title connects with the Game Boy Advance, allowing for 2-player cooperative play. Tingle appears on the GBA screen, assisting Link's adventure on the GameCube. Unique gameplay elements. It emphasizes the distinctive gameplay features that make it feel like a Zelda game, while also focusing on the wind element, alluding to the use of a baton to control the wind. Screenshots display a rill, Link receiving the telescope, Tingle assisting on the GBA screen, Link using the Wind Waker, and battling enemies. The page finishes with a next prompt, teasing the next section featuring a Zelda comic. This page is a Zelda comic. In the first panel, Ganondorf is cooking and stirring a pot. In the second panel, Ganondorf sits at a table with a Korok and a man. In the third panel, Ganondorf talks about the food he cooked. And in the next, the Korok says, "It's too early." Then the comic moves to Link and an old man are in a pot. Ganondorf is mad at them, and the old man tries to explain himself. The next page is a Zelda-themed comic strip. It starts with a bald man worrying about whether minor characters like himself will appear in the GameCube version of the game. In the next panels, Ganondorf, Link, and a Korok are sitting together. Ganondorf expresses concern about not appearing in the upcoming Nintendo Dream magazine. The Korok excitedly points out that Ganondorf is already featured in the magazine, which makes Ganondorf furious. The comic ends with a pig being held up by Link in a panel from the game, which angers Ganondorf, and he smashes the table. A dark shadow comments on the chaotic situation. This page is an advertisement for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets for the Nintendo GameCube. It promotes the game as an action-adventure title, highlighting that it supports 12 players, GCGBA cable connectivity, and requires 4 memory blocks. The page emphasizes that the game allows players to experience the world of the best-selling novel. The opening movie is touted as being like a movie trailer, and the characters are described as having rich expressions and realistic movements. Featured characters include Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger, Gilderoy Lockhart, Draco Malfoy, and Hagrid. The dialogue in the game is fully voiced. The advertisement boasts that the game follows the original story closely, providing a must-see experience for fans. The next page provides a special report on Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, maintaining the original atmosphere of the books and movies. It discusses various aspects of the game, including how the graphics create a fully realized field, mentioning locations like Diagon Alley and Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. The game allows for free camera movement and recreates scenes such as the garden gnome removal and Quidditch. Players can experience the world with Harry's, including the Weasley's burrow, where they will remove garden gnomes. The game also features Diagon Alley, where players will buy necessary school supplies and meet characters, such as purchasing books at Flourishes and Blots and meeting Gilderoy Lockhart. It also showcases a battle with the Whomping Willow, where players must save Ron, and explores Hogwarts, including the Gryffindor Common Room, Library, Grand Staircase, and Quidditch Pitch. This page continues the special report on Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, focusing on the action elements of the game and how to solve puzzles. It details that the goal is to solve the mystery in Hogwarts, using Harry's magic and skills while fighting enemies and gathering information. The page explains the game's controls, noting the use of A, B, X, and Y buttons. The A button has context-sensitive use. Actions include investigating objects, throwing items, and using stealth. The AL trigger helps targeting enemies. The article also highlights spells and items from the original story that appear in the game, like Flipendo, Lumos, and Expelliarmus. These are used to solve the puzzles and fight monsters. Magical items like Bertie's Every Flavor Beans, Nimbus 2000 Broomstick, Chocolate Frogs, and Wizard Cards are also shown. Finally, it mentions that connecting the Game Boy Advance version of the game unlocks new stages in both the GameCube and GBA versions, including Gringotts, Wizarding Bank, and a secret area. This page is an advertisement for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets on the Game Boy Advance. It emphasizes that the GBA version is distinct from the GameCube version, focusing on action-packed gameplay where players explore the mystery of the Chamber of Secrets. The game follows the original story but is designed to be more accessible, featuring new spells exclusive to the GBA version. The article highlights locations such as Gringotts, Wizarding Bank, Hogwarts, and Diagon Alley, while also showcasing enemies like firecrabs and trolls. The page notes that Harry's journey is filled with puzzles and challenges that require the use of spells and items. The next page introduces Shin Megami Tensei for the Game Boy Advance, highlighting that it's a return to the series' roots. The story centers on a protagonist in Kichijoji who gains the ability to communicate with demons through a program. As strange events unfold, including a murder in Inokashira Park and a city under lockdown, the protagonist becomes entangled in supernatural occurrences. Eventually, Tokyo is struck by missiles. The game features 3 alignments: law, neutral, and chaos, each influencing the story and which demons can be recruited. The law alignment prioritizes order and stability, while chaos emphasizes emotion and individualism. The neutral path seeks balance between the two. Key characters include the hero, who lives in Tokyo, and a heroine who appears in the hero's dreams. The page also introduces the law hero and chaos hero, companions who align with those respective paths. This page delves into the intricacies of demon encounters and interactions in Shin Megami Tensei for the GBA. It describes the encounter process in Count, where players must first assess the demon species and name, and then decide whether to fight or negotiate. A moon phase indicator affects demon behavior, with full moons indicating heightened aggression and precluding negotiation. When opting to fight! The game presents strategic combat scenarios where players must exploit demon weaknesses with appropriate attacks and spells. Victory yields experience, money, and magnetite. The article also elaborates on demon negotiation, talk, a peaceful alternative to combat. Successful negotiation can lead to demons joining the party. The page also mentions tough negotiation tactics, using force and threats to scare demons. A section covers demon fusion, and allows the creation of stronger allies by fusing captured demons in the Cathedral of Shadows. Finally, the page details some GBA version additions, including a visionary mode with side stories unlocked by specific items, a demon compendium, a trade option to swap demons and items, and a music player. The next page presents information on Eternal Arcadia Legend for the Nintendo GameCube. The focus is on a trio of wanted individuals who are impersonating the hero Vice and his crew. In this world, these imposters commit crimes and are sought after. The text describes them as not only looking like Vice, but also possessing considerable strength and the ability to mimic his special techniques. There are screenshots of the imposters, including one of their special move, Katras Boogie, and one of Anita using Anita Burst, a move similar to Aika's special moves from the original game. The page also shows the real Vice, Aika, and Fina, describing them as the young sky pirate Vice, his childhood friend Aika, and the mysterious girl Fina as they journey across the skies. This page continues the coverage of Eternal Arcadia Legend, Skies of Arcadia Legends, and details how to find and defeat wanted enemies to earn money and rare items. The bounty system revolves around the guild, where you can find information on wanted individuals. It showcases a list of wanted people, with names like Gilder, Piastel, Drachma, Clowns, Santime, and Dominga. Also shown is an example of a wanted poster for Blackbeard, a pirate with a high bounty. The page highlights 3 specific wanted enemies: Blackbeard, Balboa, who uses his ship's cannons and is found around the islands. Another is Dobra, a gourmet sky pirate who primarily targets food and supplies and has fire-based attacks. The last featured target is Ruppin, a lone wolf sky pirate riding the Gunham and capable of high explosive attacks. The next page is about Space Raiders, a Nintendo GameCube action shooting game by Taito, released on January 9, 2003, for 4,800 yen. It highlights the game's focus on continuous hits through various actions. The game involves shooting down enemies while clearing stages. It emphasizes the thrill of defeating successive waves of aliens to achieve high scores through combo hits. The page introduces different types of invaders threatening Earth, including Type Soldier, a soldier-like enemy with cannons, Type Beast, LL, a beast-like invader, and Type Flower LL, a plant-like invader with tentacles. The article also mentions 2 game modes, Story Mode and Survival Mode, each offering different experiences and gameplay. In Story Mode, players follow the narrative with 3 protagonists, while Survival Mode is an endless high-score challenge. The next page is an advertisement for Momotaro Dentetsu 11 Black Bonbi, a board game for the Nintendo GameCube released on December 5th. It focuses on the new mechanical Bonbi robots. Players must defeat the King Bonbi by building or purchasing robots. The player must purchase robots from the Robot Research Laboratory. There are 3 robots to choose from. The weakest is Puchi Cannon, Yamato Samurai, and the strongest is Mechanical Bonbi RX. It illustrates the battle between the characters in a fighting game style. It shows the King Bonbi creating havoc, turning all the stations into minus stations, sending the player to Hawaii or Okinawa, or even the dreaded Bonbia Star where everything has negative effects. The page also features the panel attack, which involves rolling dice to avoid terrible consequences. This page previews Sonic Advance 2 for the Game Boy Advance, highlighting Drive Eggman as the recurring nemesis in unique boss battles. It showcases screenshots from the game, featuring boss fights in locations like Leaf Forest and Hot Crater. The bosses include the Egg Hammer Tank, which swings a massive hammer and requires players to spin attack Drive Eggman, and the Egg Bomber Tank, which fires projectiles. The player can earn bonus points based on remaining time and rings after defeating the bosses. The page also reveals that Cream the Rabbit and Cheese the KO become allies after these battles, with Cream becoming a playable character later in the game. The next page details the new boost action in Sonic Advance 2, showcasing how characters reach maximum speed using it. When a character reaches a certain running speed, they enter boost mode, increasing their maximum speed and allowing for further acceleration. The page also reveals that Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Cream all have specific actions they can perform in boost mode. The characters' after images are proof of boost mode. This is impressive not just for Sonic, but for the other three characters as well. Sonic's actions include sliding on the ground, super sliding, double spin attack, homing attack, and a bound move. Tails can use his tail to fly, spin his tail to attack, and preform a two-stage jump, even gaining height by repeatedly pressing the A button. Knuckles has 12 punch, spiral attack, drill claw, gliding, and wall grip moves. Cream can use KO attack, step attack, fan flight, and KO rolling attack. This page is an advertisement for Sega Rally Championship on the Game Boy Advance. The page details features of the game such as natural environments and a navigation system with colored arrow indicators showing the severity of upcoming turns. The game features desert and mountain courses, where players race against opponents to become world champion. The release date is listed as December 19th, with a price of 5,800 yen. The next page details the various game modes available in the Game Boy Advance version of Sega Rally Championship. It introduces new modes in this version, including Championship, Time Attack, Extra, Records, and Options. In Championship mode, players compete against 12 computer-controlled cars to win. The championship is made up of 5 cups, each with 4 courses, and players must finish in the top 3 to earn points and access the next cup. Players start with the Amateur Cup and unlock more difficult cups by progressing. In Time Attack mode, players aim for the fastest lap times on each course and can race against ghost cars of their best runs. The Extra mode has additional content like a shop, RC radio-controlled, rally, and a gallery. The Records mode allows players to view records, and the Options mode customizes game settings. Up to 4 players can compete via link cable. It also mentions the ability to view replays of races and records of past runs, and the shop, where you can purchase visuals and extras. This page is an advertisement for the Game Boy Advance game Elemix, or Elemental Mixing. The page showcases the game's action-adventure elements, highlighting that players will master 3 types of magic. The storyline follows Prince Skip of Kane Kingdom, which is being overtaken by monsters. Skip must use his elemental magic to confront the monster army. The page introduces characters: Prince Skip, the people of Kane Kingdom who offer help, and monster enemies like Yeti Living Wood, and bosses like the Underworld Knight Commander Neris, and the Underworld Soldier Gladiator. The game features transforming into different elemental attributes, with gameplay that changes based on these attributes, combined with puzzle solving. Stages adapt difficulty based on the player's performance. The release date for the game is listed as January 3, 2003, with a price of 4,800 yen. The next page focuses on The King of Fighters X2 Howling Blood for the Game Boy Advance. It boasts new characters and elements in the popular fighting game series. The page introduces the 6 teams participating in the tournament and the new judgment system. It describes the 3-on-3 team battles, a staple of the KOF series. The page details the hero team, protagonist team, including the returning characters Kyo Kusanagi and Moe Habana, as well as the new character Reiji Ugami. It also covers the Garou team, with Terry Bogard, Andy Bogard, and Mai Shiranui. The Ikari team, consisting of Leona, Ralph Jones, and Clark Still. The Psycho Soldier team, featuring Athena Asamiya, Sikenso, and Bao.
The Dragon and Tiger team is included with Ryo Sakazaki, Yuri Sakazaki, and Takuma Sakazaki. The Korea team, including Kim Kafwan, Chang Kohan, and Choi Bounge. The judgment system is explained, detailing how the game evaluates a player's technique to influence the game's difficulty. The page also teases hidden characters and teams, and it features screenshots and artwork of the game, characters, and their teams. This page is an advertisement for Toucan Heat on the Game Boy Advance. It's a wrestling game where you become a New Japan Pro Wrestling wrestler. You train and compete, even under the guidance of Antonio Inoki. The real-time battle system is a key feature, where techniques change based on the situation and your opponent. The game features real-life wrestlers like Yuji Nagata, Hiroyoshi Tenzan, Jushin Thunder Liger, and the masked wrestler Heat. The game recreates moves and features a story mode where you play as firemen, balancing school with wrestling training. You can schedule activities like training or going to wrestling shops. The next page advertises Darius R for the Game Boy Advance. It highlights how the series, known for its 3-screen arcade cabinet, is making a comeback on the GBA. The game features powerful bosses, and the page showcases various in-game screenshots. The game includes both an arcade mode with 5 stages per route, 15 stages total, and a 1-stage mode. Bosses include the Electric Fan, Mystic Power, Gurad Savage, Tough Spring, and King Fossil. You can power up your Silver Hawk ship with items like shots, bombs, and shields.
There are 12 power-up levels to achieve. This page is an advertisement for a Sega and Nintendo collaboration event, the Sega Soccer Slam Nindori Cup, where you can play 22 Sega's Nintendo titles. This reader participation event will be held on November 23rd at Sega's main office, featuring unreleased titles and a lineup of games for the GameCube and Game Boy Advance. Prizes include a GameCube with Sega Soccer Slam and 3 GC games for the winner, and a Game Boy Advance with Sega Soccer Slam and 3 GBA games for the runner-up. Participants will receive Sonic and A plush toys. Visitors will receive AK and KO plushies, Sonic stickers, and AK hand towels. Some of the featured games include Eternal Arcadia Legend, Sonic Mega Collection, Super Monkey Ball 2, Sega Soccer Slam, Phantasy Star Online Episodes 1 and 2, 18-Wheeler, Beach Spikers, Crazy Taxi, Virtua Striker 3 for 2002, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Sonic Advance 2, J.League Pro Soccer Club, Pro Baseball Team, Greatest 9, The Pinball of the Dead, Shining Soul, Sonic Advance Columns Crown, Minute de Puyo Puyo, and Choo Choo Rocket. The page urges interested participants to apply by postcard by November 15th. The next page shows a sticker sheet from Nintendo Dream Volume 79, promoting various GameCube titles. There's a large yellow circle, possibly for customizing a GameCube. Featured are stickers with the phrase, "We are freaks," alongside a GameCube image, plus Sega Soul AI stickers, and Sonic Mega Collection artwork. There are stickers featuring characters and speech bubbles from the game Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Also included are stickers with title art for GameCube games like Mario Party 4, Super Monkey Ball 2, Biohazard Zero, Luigi's Mansion, Pikmin, Animal Crossing, Super Mario Sunshine, and Star Fox Adventures. The bottom of the page has memory card stickers featuring game characters and cheerleaders. This page is a full-page advert for Nintendo Dream Volume 79 and various GameCube titles. Bye now. The next page is titled, New Soft Preview plus Thorough Strategy. It features Kirby holding a star wand at the top, with art of characters from various games below. The text says that in addition to The Legend of Zelda and Pokemon, there will be many exciting software releases towards the end of the year. This issue will feature helpful strategy guides for games you'll want to clear before the rush. They promise a usefulness level of 120%. This page is a preview for Super Robot Wars Original Generation on the Game Boy Advance. It highlights that this title features all-original characters and robots, unlike the crossover nature of the main Super Robot Wars series. The player can choose between 2 protagonists, Ryusei Date, piloting the R1, and Kyosuke Nanbu, piloting the Altyson. The page introduces other original characters, including Zengar Zombolt from Super Robot Wars Alpha Gaiden, Gilliam Yeager from Super Robot Wars F, and Lafina Enfield. The article also mentions Excellent Browning from Super Robot Wars Impact and Daitetsu Minase. The bottom of the page lists other pilots and robots appearing in the game, mostly from Super Robot Wars Alpha. The next page details the enhanced systems in Super Robot Wars Original Generation. A key new feature is the ability to customize pilots, improving their stats and skills through earned pilot points. The game also introduces a weapon select system, allowing players to freely equip weapons within the robot's weight limit. The page demonstrates combat tactics like covering weaknesses with weapons like the Mega Beam Rifle on the Rai-1, or strengthening strengths like equipping the Huckabeen with additional beam rifles. It covers status-changing special effect weapons like jam grenades, which lower enemy attack power, and energy drain, which absorbs energy from enemies to prevent them from attacking. Additionally, the game brings back assist attacks and defense. High HP or armored units can protect others by intercepting attacks. This page is about Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Children Light and Dark Book, a Game Boy Advance RPG. The game features two protagonists, Jin in Light Book and Akira in Dark Book, each with their own story, but with shared elements. In battle, you use the Devilizer item to summon and fight with demons, called Devil Children. The turn-based battles involve commands like attack, negotiate to befriend enemy demons, run away, check status, use auto battle, and combo attacks. Successfully negotiating with demons adds them to your party.
The Devidas system allows you to search for demon information.
Demons have classes, species, and elemental affinities. Two new demons, Kintaro and Leprechaun, are shown. The story involves Jin and Akira encountering a mysterious book and gaining the power of demons. They are elementary school students, investigating strange occurrences with their friend Lena. The page also shows screenshots of battles and story scenes. The next page focuses on the fusion aspect of Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Children Light and Dark Book. It details the 6 types of fusion. Magic fusion, where you fuse demons at the Ayashi Research Center to create powerful monsters. Communication fusion lets you fuse demons between the light and dark books using a communication cable. Accident fusion, which can occur in the light book, results in unpredictable outcomes, creating rare demons, but can also weaken the outcome. Fusion lets you combine the same species in the dark book to improve their rank. The page also mentions fossil fusion, where you combine fossil items to create zombie demons, and partner fusion. Partner demons in each book can fuse with other demons, enhancing their abilities. Also, partners will rank up with new forms as the story progresses. Finally, the page shows early battles with a gargoyle, where Jin and Akira try to stop a monster from destroying the world using demons. This page is an advertisement for the Game Boy Advance game Higabana, Silent Flower. Based on the novel by Nagasaka Shukei and developed by Athena, this is a horror adventure game that has you taking pictures of paranormal activity. You play as a character on a train, and a ghost appears to be sitting next to you. In order to do so, you must time the shot correctly, or else the ghost will disappear. If you take a picture, you can save it for later viewing after you have completed the game. This page shows off some of the ghost types you can capture in the game. The next page features the upcoming horror adventure game Higabana, Silent Flower, which unravels a mystery full of riddles and terror in Kyoto. The story revolves around 3 women who meet on a train to Kyoto. Rokujo Arisa, a knowledgeable college student, Minamoto Toru, a designer hopeful, and Kawahara Nazuna, a woman with strong spiritual senses. The page introduces the main characters and their personalities.
Arisa is a university student from a well-to-do family. Toru is a healthy and active designer hopeful. Nazuna is a sensitive woman. Other characters include Arisa's ex-boyfriend and a young detective from Tokyo investigating a case in Kyoto. The story involves the characters visiting famous horror spots in Kyoto, where they experience paranormal events, and is full of suspense and mystery. There is even a ghost you can encounter with a Noh mask.
The next page showcases Muscle Champ Peon, a party game based on the popular Sasuke, Ninja Warrior, TV show, where friends and family can gather and play together. The page highlights how to enjoy this party game, explaining that it's simple to play with mini-games like Strikeout and Power Force. It also introduces character editing options and the Sasuke Training Center construction zone. You can build practice areas by earning rewards in various competitions, and focus on improving your weak spots before tackling the main event. The page showcases the Sasuke Island, which can be reached by building the Sasuke training area, where you can challenge yourself on courses like 6-stage jump and wall lifting. It also mentions the ability to create unique characters by clearing tests. Meeting certain conditions allows the Sasuke training area to appear. The page also shows various minigames like Rope Force, Shot Fun Catch, Fura Flags, and Brain Panic. There's also a mention that celebrities might appear as playable characters. This page is an advertisement for Scan Hunter, Pursue Millennium Fish, a futuristic fishing game for the Game Boy Advance, set to release on November 15th. The game involves scanning fish drana with a machine called Buddy, instead of traditional fishing. You'll be scanning legendary creatures like Poseidon. The protagonist encounters Poseidon after going to the sea with classmate Misaki, starting their journey as a scan hunter. The game also features character Kamezo, who helps you scan Poseidon. The game includes scanning mechanics and features, such as the point where you can select to scan fish based on weather and location, using the radar to locate and target fish, Dyna extraction, buddy launching, and the success/failure system. You can revitalize scanned fish using a Dyna generator, which results in rare finds like the goldfish or the artificial blackfish. The game involves tournament play, where you can customize Buddy with FP earned, compete in classes from C to S, and modify Buddy with various parts. Scan Hunter features over 100 types of sea creatures, including the never-before-seen Poseidon. The page also features the Cleone, a type of sea angel with graceful swimming. The next page spotlights 2 games coming to the Game Boy Advance. First up is Contra Advance, The Alien Wars X, Contra Hard Spirits in Japan, based on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis Contra titles. It's an action shooting game where you blast through enemies and massive bosses, complete with 2-player gameplay via link cable. The page highlights the intense graphics and classic Contra gameplay. The second game is Dando G, a golf game based on the popular manga series. You play as young golfer Dando Adoba, aiming to become a top pro. The game features a story mode, various rivals, and the ability to unlock characters for versus play. The screenshots showcase gameplay elements like shot timing and course previews. This page showcases 2 Game Boy Advance titles. The first game is Acrobat Kids, an action game where Arrow battles the evil Edgar gang in a theme park setting. The page emphasizes the acrobatic gameplay and includes screenshots showing Arrow in various stages, including a roller coaster and performing bungee jumps into the water. The second game is from TV animation One Piece, Nanatsu Shima no Daihiho. One Piece, Treasure of Nanatsu Island. This action RPG features Luffy and his crew searching for treasure on Nanatsu Island. The page highlights the unique abilities of Luffy, Nami, and Zoro, with screenshots of their in-game actions. It also mentions a feature where players can create their own unique custom parrot with over 16,000 variations by inputting card serial numbers. The next page provides attack guides for the GameCube title Eternal Darkness, focusing on effective ways to use weapons and spells up to the Rinzai chapter. The page emphasizes strategic combat, urging players to use hidden-away tactics by attacking an enemy and then dodging to their rear. It also suggests targeting specific body parts to disable them, like headshots, or attacking the arms to prevent attacks. The guide covers weapon selection based on the number of enemies and the environment, also discussing the advantages of different weapon types, such as knives and pistols. Knives are recommended for precise attacks in tight spaces, while pistols are better for hitting multiple enemies at once. Finally, the guide advises using enchant items to power up weapons, increasing their effectiveness against specific enemy types. It also notes that enemies are enveloped in the color of the spell cast upon them. This page of Eternal Darkness guides the player on using runes and quick spells, encouraging registration of rune combinations for quick access via the DPA, D, and Y button. It highlights the Recover spell as frequently useful. The page lists runes available up to the Rinzai chapter with those from other chapters too, and the runes required for spell creation, including enchant items, recover, reveal invisible, damage field, and dispel magic. Regarding gameplay tips, the guide recommends using damage field to contain monsters in areas and prioritize health recovery with recover while avoiding damage. Strong monsters should be fought near doorways, utilizing hit and run tactics, healing when necessary, and returning to battle once ready. The page also explains how to find chapter pages within the game, requiring the player to clear certain conditions and referencing the in-game map. Specific instructions are given for finding chapter pages in the areas of Pius, Area, Anthony, Karim, Max, and Rinzai. 2 floor plans for the mansion are shown, Mansion 2F and Mansion 1F, with numbered locations. The guide highlights that the chapter walkthrough pages link the map numbers to flowcharts, assisting with navigation. It mentions that difficult sections are explained with screenshots and names, and also covers hallucinations and illusions that occur when sanity decreases. The next page is an attack guide for Eternal Darkness, focusing on the Forbidden City section. The guide starts with the character Pius receiving a secret order to enter the ruins, noting that the maps are large and the monsters are weak, making it a good place to learn the controls. The goal is to collect 4 types of stone blocks found within the ruins and place them in designated spots. The numbered map shows the locations of key items and events within the Forbidden City, guiding the player to 1. Obtain the red stone block by defeating 3 monsters. 2. Acquire the green stone block. 3. Get the blue stone block. 4. Collect the purple stone block. 5. Insert the stone blocks into corresponding colored spaces on the wall. Quote. 6. Pass through the open door and attack the armor to open the next door. Quote. 7. Press the switch to reach the center of the circle. 8. Acquire 1 of 3 treasures. The guide includes screenshots of the stone blocks and an image of the wall with the 4 colored slots for the stones. It also explains how to use the menu screen to select and use items, and mentions that the story changes depending on the selected treasure, with a table displaying a treasure selection and corresponding chapter order. For example, if you pick Anthony, you will get 0 Ketas, then Urias, then Charger Bruzga. This page presents a walkthrough for a section of Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. The area is named Eria, and the guide focuses on navigating traps to obtain the metal staff. It notes that the area is filled with puzzles and traps, and the player needs to find the metal staff while looking for the Grim Reaper. The guide includes a map of the area, marked with numbers indicating specific actions needed to progress. These include 1. Obtaining a mysterious necklace from a goddess statue. 2. Acquiring the bronze necklace. 3. Extinguishing the rightmost candle to partially open a door. 4. Placing the bronze necklace on a goddess statue. 5. Extinguishing the left and right candles to fully open the door. 6. Obtaining the blow arrow and heading to B2F, basement 2nd floor. 7. Acquiring the metal staff. 8. Using the metal staff to open a door. The walkthrough also describes puzzle solutions, such as manipulating candles based on wall paintings, and using necklaces on statues to open doors. It mentions an area in the 2nd basement where the short sword can be repaired by a monk. The page also has a small note about sanity meter, referring to the hallucinations that occur in this area due to a low sanity meter, such as the sound of monks chanting, which increases the player's fear. This page is another walkthrough for the game Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, focusing on the character Anthony. The guide details how to repair items with spells and find the priest's key. The guide walks through the process of obtaining a blue pot, finding hidden doors, getting a torch, assembling fragments of a green pot, acquiring a filled red pot, using runes to repair the pots, placing filled pots, defeating an enemy, and finding the key. The map shows locations within the level, including a cathedral. There's also info on how to battle a monster, suggesting players should circle around and aim for its arms, cutting off the long arms to quickly defeat it. The next page is a walkthrough for Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, this time featuring Karim. The guide focuses on how to find the ancient treasure to win the heart of a mysterious woman. It mentions that Karim is skilled with swords, and that the enemies are stronger on this part of the quest. The walkthrough details a series of steps: acquiring white doll object and black doll object, placing them on the marked floors in a room to activate an elevator, defeating monsters to acquire alignment, getting the Ram Dao weapon, enchanting it with an item, and using it on a door. It then describes obtaining the Eternal Darkness book, defeating all monsters, and taking the green engraving from the back room. There are also instructions on how to activate an elevator by using the doll objects, and how to solve a barrier using runes obtained from defeated monsters. Additionally, the page discusses using the RAM Dio to open sealed doors, emphasizing that stabbing specific parts will break the seal. Finally, there's a small section on hallucination and auditory hallucination guides, which mentions TV volume decreasing and causing a sense of malfunction.
This page continues the walkthrough for Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, focusing on the Max storyline and his quest to delve into the unseen basement, guided by letters from a friend. Max's scenario involves navigating a mansion filled with secrets and monsters after discovering the Eternal Darkness book. The walkthrough details a flowchart of steps, including manipulating a crow statue to reveal a hidden passage under the fireplace, obtaining the book, defeating monsters, finding items like a pump handle, and discovering a hidden envelope containing the key to the basement, and using a reveal invisible spell. The guide also explains the relationship between three alignments, emphasizing the crow statue puzzle and how manipulating it reveals hidden passages. Additionally, it touches upon discovering hidden doors using spells. There is a hallucination and auditory hallucination guide that talks about the room flipping upside down or walking on the ceiling. The next page features a walkthrough for Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, specifically focusing on the character Lindsay. The guide is titled Bracelets and Necklaces. Open the hidden doors by attaching them to stone statues. The walkthrough details how to solve puzzles by finding and using bracelets and necklaces on statues to reveal hidden passages and obtain key items. It also includes advice to always brush away spiderwebs and shows locations where the player can find items. The next page provides a walkthrough for the bonus content in Star Fox Adventures on the Nintendo GameCube. The guide explains how to unlock the bonus mode by collecting all the magic metals hidden throughout Dinosaur Planet. To find these metals, you must throw 20 scarabs into special wells, often located in obscure places. Once you get a magic metal, the advice is to make a save, because when used the metal disappears. Then you can access the bonus mode in the title screen by using the directional stick. The page also mentions secret messages that can be unlocked with these medals. There is a map of one of the maze-like areas where the medals can be used.
Finally, it also mentions that warp pads act as exits from the maze. This guide details how to obtain all magic medals in Star Fox Adventures, unlocking bonus content. Specific locations and required items are detailed. Players must assist characters, solve puzzles, like using bomb spores or jump pads, and sometimes use specific items, like the gate key or moon seed, to access metal wells. Locations include Shabunga Shop, Ice Mountain, Lightfoot Village, Ocean Force Point, Snowhorn Wastes, Volcano Force Point, Moon Pass, and Cape Beach. Each section includes maps and screenshots. The Volcano Force Point section emphasizes the Moonseed's importance, as it's the last opportunity to acquire it. The next page provides a walkthrough for the Volcano Force Point in Star Fox Adventures, guiding players to retrieve a spellstone and reach the Trial Temple. It involves solving fire-related puzzles, including extinguishing flames in a specific order: blue, green, red, yellow, using switches to navigate ledges, and matching the color of fireballs to activate orbs. The guide also details how to obtain a scarab bag and golden carrot, use dino horns, and eventually warp to the Trial Temple. Maps are included to show locations and routes within the area, including the Snowhorn Wastes and Sawtail area. This page provides a walkthrough for releasing the spirit and opening the Skygate in Star Fox Adventures. After obtaining the 4th Krazoa spirit from the Trial Temple, players return to the Sawtail village via a warp point. The walkthrough explains how to solve puzzles involving fuel barrels and switches to destroy walls, navigating wind currents, and speaking to the gatekeepers near the magic well. The gatekeeper will require the player to go through certain steps to open the Skygate, which requires the player to defeat the final trial. The next page offers a strategy guide for Dragon Rock in Star Fox Adventures, detailing how to get the final spellstone. To start, players need to complete the Arwing stage and land on Dragon Rock, making sure they have 15 fuel cells. If not, they can purchase them at the shop. Players must have 10 gold rings. The guide then explains how to use a fuel barrel with a lift to activate reverse switches, warning to avoid flames, and climb ladders. Players must also coordinate with the barrel lift and step on switches. Once the generator and monitor robots are destroyed, The guide advises using an R-wing to destroy generators and monitor robots, giving a map showing the locations and a warning to look out for the generator located on a wall. This page offers a walkthrough for the Dragon Rock stage in Star Fox Adventures, detailing specific actions to progress. It covers how to use the R-wing and fuel barrels to navigate the area, defeat enemies, and activate switches. Screenshots illustrate key locations and actions, like shooting switches to destroy all monitoring robots, and solving barrel-based puzzles to navigate the level, and riding a barrel lift to fight enemies in 4 separate locations. It also goes on to detail the encounter with the Mecha Dragon, as well as how to take down the sub-tower, as well as how to find a life up and navigate the halls. The next page is a guide for Kirby: Nightmare in Dreamland on the Game Boy Advance. It highlights strategies for the first 3 levels, focusing on copy abilities. The guide explains how Kirby can inhale enemies to gain their powers, and how mixing 2 enemies can create new abilities. It also details minigames that offer opportunities to earn extra lives, 3-ups, including Samurai Kirby, a quick draw game, and Bomb Rally, and Air Grind, which are both other minigames. Screenshots demonstrate gameplay and provide tips for mastering each challenge.
This page continues the guide for Kirby: Nightmare in Dreamland, focusing on strategies for the first level Vegetable Valley and the boss fight with Wispy Woods. It details how to find hidden areas and utilize copy abilities, like UFO, for advantageous traversal. For the Wispy Woods boss fight, the guide recommends using needle or spark abilities for an easier victory, as Kirby can inhale apples and hurl them back. The guide also mentions the importance of inhaling projectiles and dropping blocks on top of the enemy. The next page details strategies for Level 2, Ice Cream Island, in Kirby's Dream Land. The guide gives tips for each stage. In Stage 1, beware of falling coconuts, using the Parasol ability to guard against them. The Tornado ability is recommended for an easier time near the goal. Stage 2 focuses on using the Wheel ability, requiring you to defeat the mid-boss Grand Wheelie. Stage 3 involves navigating the labyrinth-like underground path in Meta Knight's Trial, using bombs to clear the way. Stage 4 suggests using the laser ability to get items with reflections while fighting the mid-boss, Mr. TikTok. Stage 5 highlights the burning ability to get 3-up items in a hidden room. Lastly, the page provides strategy for the boss fight against Paint Roller, recommending inhaling the boss's attacks from a distance and hitting him with star projectiles. This page continues with the strategy guide, now focusing on Level 3. Butter Building from Kirby's Dream Land. It gives level-specific tips across 6 stages, plus the boss battle. Stage 1 recommends finding a hidden door to a switch room to change the map.
Stage 2 suggests dodging mid-boss Bugsy's projectiles and inhaling the bugs he throws to hit him with star bullets, and copy his backdrop attack. Stage 3 is about navigating the tower's interior and exterior, noting when the haze clears to reveal entrances, urging players to remember where they entered. Stage 4 features a rematch against Meta Knight, advising players to inhale the enemies he summons and use them as projectiles. Stage 5 involves using the hammer ability, obtained from the mid-boss Bonkers, to defeat enemies and hit pegs. Stage 6 tasks players with finding a hidden door in a cloud-filled area, using the light ability in dark rooms. The guide concludes with tips for the boss fight against Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright, advising players to inhale the stars they shoot and use them as projectiles, also noting you can copy ability from one of them. The next page focuses on Tales of the World: Narrated Dungeon 2 for the Game Boy Advance. It's a strategy guide that gives tips on how to progress through the game, focusing on completing standard quests to unlock story quests. The guide explains that the adventure is divided into standard quests and story quests, which are unlocked by completing standard quests and building trust with the townspeople. It gives examples of simple quests like finding an item or delivering something to someone. It also shows some screenshots of in-game dialogue and scenes, including success and failure outcomes for quests, which impact the main character's trust and can even lead to game overs. A section highlights the importance of character roles in combat, particularly elemental attributes. The guide suggests that lightning is effective against water, and gives advice on team formation, placing direct attackers in front and ranged attackers in back. The guide mentions using combos to gain bonus experience, and using chain attacks with magic spells like Ray to maximize damage. This page is an attack guide for Tales of the World: Narrated Dungeon 2. It details how to power up clothes using roots found at the Stevia shop, allowing you to change clothing types and pass down abilities. It explains the process of fukuhenka, which involves combining clothes with roots to change jobs and gain elemental properties, like fire, wind, water, earth, thunder, light, and darkness. The guide shows how to combine items to boost stats and enhance characters, offering tips on how to create the strongest outfit by combining bonus abilities. Screenshots show the effects of using specific roots, like Seki Shaoseki, to gain darkness properties.
Also featured are the laws for Tales of character appearances. You can find characters by looking for rumors, wearing specific clothes, and triggering special conditions. A couple of screenshots showcase encounters with characters like Woodrow and Chelsea after completing certain tasks. This page is an advertisement for a Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland strategy guide from Nintendo Dream. The A5-sized guide is 128 pages and costs 1,200 yen. It features horizontal page layout and comes with an original Kirby coaster. The guide includes tips for clearing the game 100%, even against King Deed, and showcases fan-submitted illustrations. The guide utilizes a horizontal layout with clear case specifications. Its design allows it to transform from a vertical to horizontal orientation when removed from its case, enhancing usability. It also includes a set of 4 Kirby coasters of varying sizes. Fan illustrations were also being accepted and used in the strategy guide.
A selection of reader-submitted artwork is also showcased on the page, with a comment thanking everyone for their many submissions, while also briefly lists a number of games with their prices such as Luigi's Mansion, Wave Race, Blue Storm, and Animal Forest. Nindori Garden, a section of Nindori Academy, focuses on fostering connections among Nindoriers. The page features reader submissions covering various topics, including excitement about new Pokemon games, comments on unusual or surprising details, like a 50-year-old contributor or a town council chairman named Mr. Shigeru Miyamoto, and questions about submission guidelines. Readers share anecdotes, like a child's reaction to the kanji in Star Fox Adv, and a parent's need for glasses due to small print in Nindori. The page also includes a comic strip, a comedians section, a call for Parent-Teacher Association submissions, and a recurring treasure game update. Ultimately, the page promotes recommending Nindori to friends. Please provide the text you would like me to summarize. The next page dives into reader opinions and fan art, focusing on the topic of Fox vs. Link. Who's the best fighter?
Readers weigh in, debating Fox's space combat skills and versatile moveset against Link's swordplay, boomerang skills, and dedication to protecting loved ones. The page also features a Things That Bug Me section, with readers questioning the whereabouts of Navi from The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time after Majora's Mask, praising the unchanging hairstyle of Phoenix Wright from Ace Attorney, and pondering the physics of the Dreaming Spring stage in Super Smash Bros. DX. There's also a call for help in the game Emergency Squad regarding the use of the Gifo IEAMP item in Phantasy Star Online Episodes 1 and 2, prompting discussion and information sharing among players. Additionally, there's fan art of characters, and a section for reader submissions and questions for the magazine and Nintendo Dream Academy. The next topic for reader debate will be, which princess has the most money, Peach or Daisy? This Nindori Gakuen magazine page features reader submissions discussing whether the GameCube is a children's console. Reviews include a positive one for Mother, praising its emotional impact and unique American setting compared to traditional fantasy RPGs. A review of Black Matrix Zero, however, is less enthusiastic, criticizing the anticlimactic ending and lack of significant story impact from player choices, despite praising the graphics and music. The page also includes one-word impressions on various games, such as Golden Sun, The Lost Age, with reader speculation about the characters, Star Fox Adv, and WrestleMania X8, along with short poems about Star Fox Adv and Zelda no Densetsu, Majora no Kamen. The next page features reader questions about the Game Boy Advance, answered by a Death Hermit character. Topics include battery life, with advice on fully discharging batteries occasionally to maintain performance, and a discussion of the memory effect in nickel metal hydride batteries. It also addresses concerns about eye strain during GBA gaming, suggesting regular breaks, proper lighting, and vitamin B supplements. Other questions cover using a sealed bag for GBA in the bath, and a playful inquiry about getting into Nintendo,
followed by some shorter submissions and jokes, including a reference to the flavor of a certain snack food, and a funny request to advertise meat potato stew. This page is titled, Words to Send to Rare, and features messages from readers to Rare, the developer of games like Super Donkey Kong, GoldenEye, and Banjo-Kazooie. One reader expresses their gratitude for Rare's games, and their desire for Rare to continue making games that would make Nintendo regret their loss. Another fondly remembers playing GoldenEye with friends, and overcoming the difficulty of Blastozer on the N64, wishing Rare success in their future endeavors. A third reader laments that Rare games are no longer available on Nintendo consoles, and hopes for new and exciting titles from the developer. The page also includes fan art featuring Rare characters. One reader says that Rare was the childhood friend that you can never replace, and has high hopes for Rare. There is also a message from someone calling themselves a parent, wishing Rare continued success, wherever they may go. One short comment, thanks Rare for making so many fun softwares, and hope they come back powered up. The next page is a section called Half-Life Theater. It's a collection of user-submitted fan art and comic strips themed around Nintendo games. There's a cartoon about a working car named Backlash, and a series of panels with Donkey Kong, James Bond in GoldenEye, and Diddy Kong, showcasing different consoles like the FC, SFC, N64, and GameCube. The page is by Weldon Nakawe, and includes a promise of more James Bond action.
It also ends with a lighthearted, "See you off with a laugh."
This page showcases fan submissions to the Game Software Fan Club, focusing on character interpretations and art inspired by various games. The Animal Crossing section features humanizations of villagers, with contributors sharing their takes on characters like Anchovy, Cyrano, Midge, and Lobo. The Legend of Zelda section offers reimaginings of Link and Zelda, with artists providing their unique spins on the iconic characters. Some discuss possible settings for future Zelda games. There are references to Ocarina of Time and possibly the new, then-current GBA title. The page encourages readers to send in their own cosplay ideas and artwork.
The next page features fan art and comments related to various Nintendo games. The Star Fox section shows Crystal alongside other Star Fox characters. There are mentions of Star Fox adventures. The Pokemon section has fan art of trainers and Pokemon, including Latias, Charmanders, and others. The Fire Emblem section displays fan art of Fire Emblem characters. There's a mention of the Binding Blade. Finally, the FC Game Elementary School Student section, likely referring to Famicom games, has character art. The next page is dedicated to fan contributions and rankings for various Nintendo games. The first section is for Golden Sun, where Picard is ranked first in popularity, followed by Robin, Jasmine, Alex, Ivan, Gerald, Mary, Shiva, and Garcia. Fans share their admiration for Picard's character, mentioning his charming personality. The next section focuses on the Mario family series, particularly Mario Party 4. A fan expresses excitement for the game. A Star Kirby section features fan art and comments related to the Kirby series. One fan is looking forward to Kirby Air Ride and reminisces about the Famicom version. Another expresses hope for a Deed King battle. Fans discuss whether the Kirby Air Ride game is out yet or not. Finally, the Adderine and Ribbon branch office section is dedicated to Adderine and Ribbon from an unknown title, possibly asking for them to be added to the animated series. There are fan drawings and comments about the characters, with one fan expressing their love for Adderine and looking forward to her appearance in the N64 version. There is also a small section asking if there is going to be an Adorine special. This page is dedicated to reader submissions for various Nintendo games. The Mother section features fan art and comments about the Mother series. One submission shows a boy with a baseball cap, calling it a game where a boy in a red baseball cap saves the world. The writer expresses love for the game's music and characters, hoping for a GBA release. Another submission features fan art of various characters with obscured faces, humorously asking if Kirby is also hiding his face. One fan recalls the Mother series, asking for a revival on the FC. Fan art shows the characters from the Smash Bros. DX version in a human style. The submitter requests illustrations of reverse humanization, where humans become animals. Next is the Sonic section, calling out for submissions to the Sonic Fan Club. A fan states that Sonic is too cool, and hopes to create a Sonic FC for fans. A fan drawing features Sonic.
Another fan calls out Cream the Rabbit from Sonic, and notes that she may be wearing a mask. The next section is Holy Sword Legend, where fans share their love for the series, wanting the same character from GBA version in the animated series. The Smash Bros. Section expresses the need for a one-page increase for fan clubs, thanking the readers for their contributions. It also mentions that new clubs and postcard-like plans are coming up. Finally, there's a request for the game character ranking to be revived. The next page dives into the problem of Game Boy Advance game sales in America, particularly the fact that games are selling for around 3,700 yen. It features a report by Obuchi Yutaka from Electronic Gaming Monthly. The page shows the top 5 selling games in America for July, August, and September. In July, Dragon Ball Z, Mario Advance 2, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters 2i, Sonic Advance, and Pokémon Crystal were the top titles. August saw Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters 2i, odd number 1, followed by Mario Advance 2, Dragon Ball Z, Pokémon Crystal, and Sonic Advance. September's top sellers were Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters 2i, Mario Advance 3, Mario Advance 2, Dragon Ball Z, and Castlevania. The reviewer mentions that GBC games are still selling well, and notes that despite the low prices, many developers are showing interest. The author states that a North American sales company indicated that they would not be able to release new machines until concerns about low market prices were resolved. They also highlight a trend of developers creating simpler games due to budget constraints. Games like Tony Hawk, Star X, Rally 3, and Doom are mentioned as examples. Finally, it showcases the new Yutaka's news section, where Yutaka discusses purchasing Taiko no Tatsujin for PS2, comparing it to Samba de Amigo as a party game, and muses on whether a family is needed to play such games. This page is an advertisement for the Nanoloop 1.0 album, featuring original music composed using Game Boy hardware. The album was released on January 21, 2002. For around 2,500 yen. It is described as a compilation album with many artists using the Nanoloop software, and the music is primarily created with Game Boy sound sources, spanning genres like techno, electro, and IDM. The page also describes the Nanoloop software, highlighting its ability to manipulate Game Boy sounds like a synthesizer. It suggests the software is best suited for loop-based music, and is perfect for those wanting to push the Game Boy's sound capabilities. The article mentions the Vork Group, and their Game Boy-based live performances, including an event called Otaka Speed Vibe 2002 Tokyo. The review praises the album's unique value and accessible dance tracks. The track list includes artists like Oliver Witchow, Dat Politics, AGF/Dlay, PETA, Asahi, Blechtem from Blechdom, Stockhausen and Walkman, Merzbow, Felix Kubin, Pyrolator, Hrvatsky, Bruno and Michelle Are Smiling, and Ostinato. The next page features a manga excerpt titled Tenin Kazoku, The Transferred Family, by Hyanon. Specifically, Dashkun's 64DD First Experience, Part 2. The story revolves around Dashkun and his family's discovery of a 64DD and its software. Dashkun is excited about the software, particularly Kyojin no Doshin Kaiho Sensen, Chibiko Chico Daishugo, Doshin the Giant Liberation Front, Little Chico Big Assembly. A true mania software made for Doshin the Giant lovers. The mother is initially overwhelmed, but becomes engrossed in the game and commands, instructing Dashkun to insert the Doshin 1 disc, and later to exchange it. The manga showcases gameplay elements, including companion commands and siren sounds, also shows the discs spinning, and the vibration pack shaking along with the game. Dashkun seems to be experiencing some kind of awakening, as he follows his mother's instructions. This page continues the manga from Hyanon. The characters discuss the 64DD and its capabilities. The conversation touches on creating original content using the system, mentioning games like Mario Artist, Paint Studio, Mario Artist, Talent Studio, and Mario Artist, Polygon Studio, highlighting the ability to incorporate photos using the Game Boy camera. It also mentions that there was a communication kit available. They then discuss the available software, stating they also played SimCity 64, 0x Expansion Kit, and Japan Pro Golf Tour 64. They mention that Japan Pro Golf Tour 64 and Chibiko Chico were purchased through mail order, while the rest were distributed. The characters also talk about how Mother and Zelda were considered to be released on the 64 DD. The manga concludes with the main character finding the LandNet member desk phone number on the back of the manual, but is told that the service ended a year and a half ago. A mysterious voice then states that the youth has finally encountered a problem. The text at the bottom indicates that the story of a man who knows the history of the 64 DD will continue in the next issue. This page is a release schedule for GameCube and Game Boy Advance software. The GameCube section lists games such as Mario Party 4, Resident Evil 0, Super Monkey Ball 2, Super Smash Bros., Melee, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, NBA Live 2003, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, and Sonic Mega Collection. There are a few upcoming titles listed with tentative release dates. The Game Boy Advance section includes games like Bass Fishing, Derby Stallion Advance, Mega Man Battle Network 3, Konami Crazy Racers, Castlevania, Harmony of Dissonance, Beyblade, Yu-Gi-Oh! The Eternal Duelist Soul, Sonic Advance 2, and Bomberman Jetters.
Similar to the GameCube section, there are some games listed with unspecified release dates. There are also release schedules for Game Boy Color and carded reader games.
The next page presents a survey form for Muscles Questionnaire from Nintendo Dream Magazine. It requests reader input on various topics: favorite games, consoles owned, magazine preferences, and desired future games. The survey also includes space for personal details and comments for a chance to win a prize. The submission deadline is December 5th. The tables included list a variety of magazines, game consoles, and articles for participants to reference while filling out the survey. The magazine list includes Dengeki GameCube, Famitsu Cube Plus Advance, Nintendo Kids, and Versus Jump. The consoles include Game Boy Advance, GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Nintendo 64. A selection of articles are also presented for readers to comment on, such as Nindori Headline and Ranking, Pocket Monsters, Ruby and Sapphire, and The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. This page presents a feature called Muscles Garden, with a cooking segment titled Eel with Garlic Soy Sauce Marinade. It's a humorous take on preparing eel, complete with a character making muscle poses. It involves detailed instructions on how to prepare and cook the eel. Following this, there's a list of winners from the Volume 76 prize draw, with names and prefectures. The prizes included a Nintendo GameCube, Game Boy Advance, memory card, and various Game Boy Advance and GameCube games, with titles like Super Mario Advance 3, Densetsu no Staffai, Eternity Named Vigrai, Air Force Delta 2, Metal Gunslinger, UFC 2 Tap-Out Final Spec, Street Fighter 03, and Fancy Pocket. Also listed is a Nintendo GameCube carry bag. The next page is a feature called Ask Nintendo, AQ, and a section where readers' questions are answered by Nintendo's planning department. It mentions the upcoming release of The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, and how this has increased the motivation of the planning department's Mr. H. There's an image of IMAP from The Legend of Zelda, who debuted in the original Legend of Zelda as the wet nurse of Princess Zelda. One of the questions is about the upcoming holiday season for GameCube.
The response indicates that Nintendo is fully prepared.
Mario Party 4 and The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, are mentioned as upcoming Cube releases, but they also mention that third-party games will be available. The GBA release called Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire is also mentioned, as well as some other unannounced titles. There is an image of the main male and female player character from Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire. This Nintendo Q&A discusses The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. Question 2. Details. Upcoming commercials, promising a wide appeal ad campaign, potentially with different versions, airing 2 weeks or a month before launch. Question 3. Highlights the game's detailed monsters, reacting differently to attacks from various angles, and boasting realistic textures. Question 4 confirms that while Navi, the Great Fairy, is absent, other characters will provide clues. Question 5.
Question 5 praises the game's operability as undoubtedly the best in the world. A sidebar features Zelda fan Governor Kochi Kenji. The next page features a queue and a section from Nintendo, starting with a segment called
Hamidashi Question Box, where they answer a fan's question about what animal the crystal in Star Fox Adventures resembles. The answer is that the motif is based on cats and foxes.
The first Q&A section focuses on The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. One fan asks for development secrets, and the response details how the ability to use enemies' dropped swords came about. It started with an idea of enemies wearing glasses that would fly off when hit, leading to the concept of enemies dropping weapons that Link could then pick up. Another question focuses on Mario Party 4, asking for recommended games. The answer explains that there are over 60 new games, and that the best one depends on the number of players and playstyle. The respondent also highlights the humor in watching people play, especially in games that require quick button presses. The final question concerns Metroid Prime, asking about its status. The answer states that new information is coming soon, with the official logo and latest screenshots to be released in the next issue. The US release is scheduled for November 18th, with a Japanese localization to follow. There will be comics in 2 Kodansha magazines that will reveal Samus's background, and that can be viewed on the Nintendo webpage. The comics were made like the Fox McCloud comics. Also, new info on the GBA game will be next issue. This page continues the Ask Nintendo section with Q and about upcoming and current games. The first question asks if Nintendo will continue to make Donkey Kong games, and the answer confirms that they likely will, emphasizing Donkey Kong's importance to Nintendo. The response also mentions the effect of Rare's stock sale and reassures fans that although Banjo games may not be published by Nintendo, Donkey Kong will continue. The next question asks if the GameCube has many single-player games. The answer assures that this is not the case, citing Mario Party 4 and The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, as examples of games that offer multiplayer and single-player. Another question concerns Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles and its connectivity with the GBA. The response clarifies that it's an action RPG, emphasizing the shared adventure experience. The GBA can be used as a controller by connecting it to the GameCube. Finally, a fan asks if a new Game Boy Advance model is coming out at the end of the year. The answer firmly states that there are no plans for a new model, even though there have been industry rumors. Despite this, research into future hardware continues, though not exclusively for the GBA. The Ask Nintendo Q&A section discusses E3 software announcements, clarifying that not all shown games will be released, as E3 focuses on upcoming North American holiday titles and showcasing future products. The planning department, responsible for advertising and promotion, including TV commercials and events, is highlighted. The rewarding aspect of the job is seeing user excitement, like comments about looking forward to release dates, travel to Tokyo for meetings, and occasional overnight stays are mentioned, as is working with pre-release software. A recruitment advertisement for Question Recruitment with Toad appears, inviting questions about Nintendo. The page ends with an illustration of Miyamoto and Shiozawa playing Star Fox GC. The next page features an interview with the staff behind Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2, a follow-up to the popular courtroom adventure game. The interview focuses on the game's development, including the origins of the story and the challenges faced by the development team. There are comments from the director, Shu Takumi, who calls Ace Attorney 2 his best work, and producer Atsushi Inamaba. The page also features character art of Maya Fey. They discuss the Psycholock system from this game, how it evolved from feedback on the first game's detective work, and how the visuals were initially rough before becoming impressive. Inaba also mentions that Capcom is planning to announce 5 new Cube titles soon. The next page is an interview with staff members Shu Takumi and Atsushi Inaba, delving into the development of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2. Takumi reflects on how the success of Dino Crisis allowed him to pursue the Ace Attorney project, despite it being a courtroom game. They discuss the implementation of the Psycholock system, how it was improved, and how it impacted the sequel, and how the visuals improved. Inaba also mentions the passion within the team, who were allowed creative freedom to create something they were passionate about. The next page continues the interview with Shu Takumi and Atsushi Inaba about Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2. Takumi explains that they initially didn't want to focus on the characters being detectives. Inaba humorously recalls shouting, "Hey! Hey! Hey!" as a game creator, while Takumi admits his love for mysteries influenced the game's interactive storytelling. They both agree that the game's success was due to its ability to appeal to a wide audience, including many female players,
over 25% of the user base. They discuss initial title ideas, including Miles Edgeworth, but eventually settled on Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, due to its clear keyword, turnabout. Inaba notes that the internal company feedback was positive.
The interview then shifts to the challenges of writing the scenarios.
Takumi mentions visiting a courthouse for inspiration, and the team wanting to create a game that players could enjoy together. They brainstormed many ideas, and tried to create a sense of tension within the courtroom.
Both interviewees agree that the characters were very deep and interesting.
They also felt surprised that ordinary courthouses were mostly empty. This interview excerpt features Shu Takumi and Atsushi Inaba discussing the development of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2. Takumi highlights the challenges of crafting engaging scenarios, particularly when dealing with sensitive themes, and emphasizes the team's enjoyment of the Turnabout Sisters chapter. Inaba praises the visual design, especially characters like Tonosuman, Acro, and Himesuman. They both discuss the team's desire to create a unique mystery experience, aiming for player enjoyment above all else. They acknowledge the difficulty of marketing a game like this without revealing spoilers, and prefer a more organic discovery by players. The conversation hints at the game's storyline and potential advertising difficulties, setting up a continuation on the next page. The next page continues the interview with Shu Takumi and Atsushi Inaba about Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2. Takumi discusses how to give the player something new while working within limitations. They talk about creating a courtroom battle experience and how to give the user a fresh feeling of excitement. Takumi mentions how he thinks it is better to end everything within the work itself, and discusses the limitations for characters. The interview highlights various points, such as the team thinking it's better to not bring back characters such as the altered form of Mayoi Masuku from the chapter Turnabout Sisters from the first game. They mention the staff got angry, so the development team had to produce a quality product. Takumi speaks how the method for Ace Attorney 2 was different compared to the original, with a deadline of 3.5 months to complete the project. The team talks about how the first episode was cut due to cartridge capacity. The team mentioned how they worked during time off to gather ideas. Inashoba talks about the team starting to plan out the third Ace Attorney game. This page presents an interview with Shu Takumi and Atsushi Inaba about Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2. Takumi humorously describes the pressure of working on the third installment so soon after the release of the second. They discuss the challenges of meeting user expectations, the production schedule, and the game's development. Takumi explains that the team decides the character colors based on discussions. Regarding character creation, Takumi praises the female designer for Ace Attorney, which added a lot of depth to the characters. He also mentions the importance of names, such as Itono Kogiri Keiji, Detective Gumshoe, and how he sometimes consults a personal name dictionary. Inakaba discusses the detective part of the Ace Attorney series, and how it became more interesting and connected to the cases. Takumi then explains how he incorporates humor and absurdity into his characters. He likes making his characters seem like they are vegetables, and how characters like Morohaya have meanings behind the names, as in the name and character traits are a nod to pride. They also discuss the number of unique characters in the game, and how the team views victims as ordinary people. Takumi jokingly mentions the police officer, Mako, who is in love. Finally, Takumi describes how each character receives deep affection and care. The next page features an interview with Shu Takumi and Atsushi Inaba, continuing their discussion about Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2. Takumi admits he was the voice of Phoenix Wright, but only under specific circumstances. They touch upon the development of the fourth installment of the series. Takumi addresses players of the second game, emphasizing the team's confidence in the adventure. Inaba hopes players are satisfied with the game's volume. Takumi shares how he reimagined Miles Edgeworth in the second game to make him more appealing, and also how the character of Franziska von Karma was conceived to shake things up. Inaba mentions the high difficulty of porting the game to the Game Boy Advance, referencing the possibility of a future Ace Attorney 4 on the platform. Both reflect on their childhoods, Inaba describing himself as precocious and a bit of a brat, while Takumi considers himself a well-behaved child who enjoyed mystery novels. Finally, Inakuba mentions how history and math were his best subjects, with Takumi saying his was modern Japanese language. The next page is an interview with Shu Takumi and Atsushi Inaba about Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2. Inaba mentions wanting to join Capcom after being a Biohazard fan, and Takumi recounts enjoying the thought of making games. They share their favorite recent meals, including Peking duck.
Takumi describes fellow Capcom creator Shinji Mikami. Inaba describes Capcom as a free-range company, and Takumi calls it a very respectable company. The discussion shifts to advice for aspiring creators. Inaba cautions against pursuing game creation if it's not a true passion, and stresses the importance of being both an adult and childlike. Takumi emphasizes the need for strong desire and individuality. The page also features a photo of Shinji Mikami at the Mihama Dojo. There is also an image of the character Maya Fei to encourage readers to not give up. This page is a strategy guide for Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2, subtitled Turnabout Hints. It's presented as a guide for players who might be stuck, but with a warning about spoilers. The first case, The Lost Turnabout, is featured, with hints focusing on the amnesiac Phoenix Wright, who is defending the woman accused of murder, Maya Fei. The guide highlights key characters such as Officer Dick Gumshoe, a witness, and instructs players to cross-examine him. The guide also discusses evidence, including fingerprints and yellow gloves. It advises players to examine the law records and to look closely for contradictions when comparing the information. The page also includes a section titled Victim's Dying Message, as well as featuring screenshots of the game and character artwork of Maya Fei, Officer Dick Gumshoe, and Phoenix Wright. Game details are listed as Game Boy Advance, developed by Capcom, 4,800 yen, adventure game, 1 player. The next page continues the strategy guide for Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2. And this section focuses on the witness, Morohaya. The page advises the player to expose Morohaya's lies in the first episode, The Lost Turnabout. The page outlines what Morohaya claims to have witnessed, including the victim falling from the cliff and seeing the defendant running away. It suggests looking for inconsistencies in his testimony, with evidence like the card with the phone number, which is evidence presented at the trial to prove the witness is lying, and other contradictions, such as whether he contacted the police immediately or his statement about seeing a banana at the crime scene. Characters featured on this page are Morohaya, Officer Dick Gumshoe, Mako, and Phoenix Wright. This page continues the strategy guide for Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2, titled Reunion and then Turnabout. It starts with Phoenix visiting the Wright & Co. law offices when Kijisaki Tetsuro, the director of the hospital that had caused a medical malpractice incident a year prior, appears. Kijisaki wants Maya, who is also there with Phoenix, to act as a medium to contact the spirit of a nurse who died in a traffic accident. They visit Kurain Village to proceed with the seance. While at Kurain Village, Phoenix begins gathering information by interviewing people, eventually discovering that Kijisaki and Maya have entered a room in the inner temple to conduct the seance. Soon after, 2 gunshots are heard. Phoenix rushes into the room and finds Kijisaki dying in a pool of blood. Maya is standing nearby with a pistol and is immediately arrested as the prime suspect. Phoenix goes to visit Maya and begins gathering information and evidence to help solve the case and prove her innocence. He speaks to Detective Gumshoe and gathers evidence, and also learns about the psycholocks that appear when questioning certain people, and that he needs proof to break the locks. Phoenix speaks to people such as Detective Itanako, and gathers information for the trial to prove the witnesses are lying. The evidence listed includes Maya's Magatama, a small but heavy jade that is passed to Harumi, the room screen which has a bullet hole, and a black key with a green gem. This strategy guide for Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney 2, focuses on the case involving the new prosecutor, Franziska von Karma, and her investigation into Maya's murder. Detective Gumshoe's initial findings, including the victim's stabbing and shooting, are questioned for inconsistencies. The defense, led by Phoenix Wright, argues for Maya's innocence, highlighting problems with evidence, like Maya's blood-stained outfit. The guide emphasizes questioning Gumshoe about the crime scene, finding discrepancies in the police report, and uncovering evidence placing Maya elsewhere at the time of the murder. Finally, it stresses examining witness Natsumi Ladahart's testimony, revealing inconsistencies and seeking hidden truths to turn the case around. This page is a review of the game Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. The reviewer Asano Kazuya's thoughts on the ADV game, mentioning they love how even with a small cast of characters it doesn't feel empty. The cases in the game are praised for their setup, with the court sections and more slower-paced investigation sections balanced. The reviewer thinks that the way the mystery is set up is well done, particularly the use of amnesia as a plot device, comparing it to other works like Famicom Detective Club, The reviewer also likes the feeling of tension when turning the tables in court, and praises the rhythmic and snappy feel of the game, saying it brings out the best of the title. They also comment on the sound design being impactful, and the game being inspired by American dramas like 12 Angry Men, mixed with a Japanese aesthetic, finding that the structure of the game is well done. The next page features an interview with Kazuma Asano, a creator known for his work on sound novels like Otogiriso, Kamaitachi no Yoru, and Machi. Asano discusses the appeal of the adventure game genre, noting that a sense of unease comes from the well-crafted sound and visual elements. He mentions how a seemingly insignificant detail, like peeling wallpaper, can create a sense of unease. He emphasizes the importance of BGM, background music, in ADV games, highlighting how calculated silence and sound are. He praises Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, for its use of sound. He notes that the timing of when to use BGM, sound effects, and silence is nearly perfect. There are small blurbs that explain the use of sound in ADV games, like the poo-poo sound when dialogue is read in Portopia, and the silence when pressing the examine command. The next page continues the discussion on adventure games, focusing on the GBA and the future of the genre. Kazuma Asano feels that the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney series has breathed new life into ADV games. Asano expresses that ADV games should be made by small teams to keep the project manageable. He feels that with smaller projects, the team can pay more attention to details and the game will not become bloated. Asano believes that GBA is a suitable platform for ADV games, noting that the screen makes text easy to read and that the system is responsive. He adds that porting titles to the platform would be good if the graphics are improved. The page features a showcase of classic adventure games, including Portopia Serial Murder Case, Famicom; Hokkaido Rensa Satsujin Okotsuki Nikyu, Famicom; Shin Onigashima, Famicom; Famicom Detective Club, Famicom. All sections describe lock, which is a basic function of ADV games, to see multiple endings and flowcharts, in which the player can see a map of dialogue and interactions. The next page delves into the topic of adventure games, ADV, and features an interview with Kazuma Asano, who talks about his vision for the genre and the importance of originality. He argues that while large-scale projects can be impressive, they can often dilute the individual style of the writer, which is essential for ADV games. He uses the analogy of a rock band, where the core members maintain a distinct sound, in contrast to an orchestra where individual expression is often secondary. Asano believes that ADV games should be more like novels, where the author's unique voice is the driving force. He cautions against chasing after grandeur and losing sight of the game's essence. He also mentions Machi as a good example where different directors contributed their unique styles to the story. The page also mentions Globola Entertainment, which is releasing Trapper Novel 2, Minami no Umi no Odyssey for the GBA in October. The game features an engaging story and characters. Another game mentioned is the horror ADV game Kairazu no Mori for the PS2, scheduled for release in December. A screenshot of Phoenix Wright from Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney is used to illustrate the article. The page includes a blurb on Machi as a sound novel set in Shibuya, with 8 protagonists over 5 days. Animal Crossing plus Village Pride Festa showcases player-created villages. One player boasts a fish-filled basement and a fishing tournament. Another village, Haniwa, Gyroid, Junior Girls Choir, held a gyroid concert in place of a Smash Bros. 1, complete with instruments and family rooms. A third village, inspired by Venom Village, features fall scenery and a space fantasy tune. Other submissions include a lonely scientist's machine-filled room, an ant diary, and a gyroid queen display. Karafuru Village, teeming with flowers, welcomes to Kotake, a gyroid concert's aftermath, a clinic, and even a busy basement toilet shop are also featured. Comments highlight a friendly fox from Papetoon Village, who seems to be a visitor, and a player collecting samples. The next page features reader-submitted creations related to Animal Crossing. First up is a rug made by Emma Ito from Aichi Prefecture, using fabric scraps from her family's old clothes. The Animal Crossing character designs look very lively. Next is a look at the overseas version of Animal Crossing, noting differences from the Japanese version. We see a letter from the development team, screenshots of the game running on a Famicom/NES without a tatami room, and in-game dialogue from Peanut.
The page also shows off some of the expressive in-game letter icons and introduces some of the goat villagers like Chèvre, Sven, Velma, Iggy, Billy, and Gruff, pointing out some localization changes with Billy/Arson. Finally, the page advertises a GameCube bag as a prize for submissions. Tips are given for taking clear photos of the game, including avoiding glare and using a flash when photographing real-life objects. The page lists the address for submissions and a deadline for the end of the month, and the non-for-sale t-shirts are given to the winners. This page highlights the opening of 2 major Pokemon centers in Western Japan. It notes that the Pokemon Center Nagoya opened on October 11th, and the Pokemon Center Osaka was reopened on October 19th. The Nagoya store is located in the Oasis 21 area and had crowds even on a weekday due to the Nagoya festival. The Osaka store was very crowded on opening day despite the weather. The Osaka Pokemon Center added a Kids Town area with a puzzle wall and a game where kids throw balls at targets on a screen. Apparently around 80% of the customers are women. New Pokemon from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire can be found in the Nagoya store, which are available for purchase. The next page is an advertisement for Pokemon merchandise. It features the early release of the Pokemon movie Pikachu's Starlight Camping on video and DVD, and gives the release date as November 22nd, along with prices for the VHS and DVD versions. There's also information about a contest to win an original Pokemon balloon. The page also highlights new Pokemon merchandise, including candy tins featuring the starter Pokemon from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, and also some featured pins which include a Pokemon GBA pin set and another Christmas pin. The text also warns that products may be out of stock due to popularity. This page, titled Capcom Mania, is all about the latest information from Capcom's website. The official Capcom homepage offers updates on released and upcoming software, along with comments from game developers and event schedules. There are special sites with detailed information on specific games. The page highlights the Biohazard, Resident Evil series of special sites, which offer exclusive content for the GameCube. There's information on 5 titles, including developer comments. Biohazard 4 is currently in preparation. Wesker's report is also mentioned. The page promotes the Capcom Fun Club, featuring webcomics, wallpapers, screensavers, and download services. Members can register for free to enter contests. The webcomic section is highlighted, along with mini-games like jigsaw puzzles. Also featured is a creator interview section, including an interview with Capcom's managing director, Okamoto. There's a download section with Capcom wallpapers and screensavers. The page ends with contact information for submitting fan content. This page continues the Rockmania section, focusing on the Rockman.exe 2-Net Battle Tour 2002. It announces the release of Rockman.exe 3 with a new Net Battle Tour. The events at the tour include a Net Battle Royal tournament for Rockman.exe 2 and a chance to play Rockman.exe 3. There's also a technical lecture by Meijin Eguchi, as well as a time attack corner where players can win prizes by defeating Blues, Proto-Man, within a time limit. Additionally, there is a data delivery corner with a chance to win the Gospel Chip. The event will be held in the Kanto area on November 17th and in the Chubu area on November 23rd. The page then transitions to Capcom's official online store, featuring items from Biohazard 0, Resident Evil 0. This includes a STARS armor vest for 13,000 yen and available in sizes M and LA. STARS t-shirt Ver0 is also featured for 4,800 yen, available in sizes S, M, and L, and in OD, black and white colors. There is also a knit cap with a caution mark for 2,500 yen, available in free size. Pre-order bonuses for Biohazard 0, GC version, are advertised for 7,800 yen with a release date of November 21st. Those who pre-order through ecap.com will receive a premium model kit of the MAU 39 Cerberus and an original mousepad. The page also includes images of Chun-Li and Sakura Kasugano, along with a fan art submission of Bugstyle. Sega's editorial team faced the Overworks development team in a monkey baseball party game, hoping to win the company sign. The editorial team, relying on luck, played against Watanabe-san, a skilled player, and Kiyomiya and Watanabe. Despite an early lead, Overworks won 18-8, forcing the editorial team to fulfill a request. Separately, Sega's online store, D-Direct, is being renewed in November, featuring pre-order bonuses for Nintendo hardware-compatible software, including Super Monkey Ball 2, Eternal Arcadia Legend, and Sonic titles. Various merchandise is also available. The next page features an interview with the Overworks development studio, including producer Rieko Kodama, Kiyomiya, and company president Okunari. They discuss the studio's philosophy of prioritizing quality and their experience developing titles like Eternal Arcadia Legend for mobile platforms. The team also shares insights into character design and world building, and talks about their goals for future projects, including GBA titles. The page highlights the Sakura Wars series, an adventure game by Sega, and the Guru Guru Onsen series, an online theme park. Also featured is Shinobi for the PlayStation 2, a remake of the Mega Drive game Super Shinobi. This page is an illustration showcase titled Illustrations Special Grand Hall. It features fan art submissions based on various games, primarily from Nintendo. The first piece is related to Mario, followed by a Legend of Zelda illustration featuring Link and some pigs. A piece based on Magical Vacation shows characters from that title. And there's a Jill's Private Clothes version illustration. There's also fan art of Link from Ocarina of Time, Roy from Fire Emblem, Yoshi and a Kinopio, Fox McCloud and Crystal from Star Fox Adventures, and a young Link standing in moonlight. Each illustration is accompanied by the artist's name and their prefecture in Japan. There are also small comments about each piece, like the artist for the Roy piece, noting that the design is limited to beautiful people. The next page continues the Illustration Special Grand Hall, with more fan art submissions. It features fan art based on several games, including some with personal messages to the magazine staff.
There's a charming illustration of two boys from Shadows of Memories. We see fan art for Sonic Adventure character Knuckles the Echidna, Roy and Marth from Fire Emblem, Yoshi and Baby Mario, and Fox McCloud from Star Fox Adventures. There's also a rendition of Link from The Legend of Zelda. Each illustration includes the artist's name and prefecture. The page then transitions to a general selection of fan art. This section includes illustrations based on Animal Crossing, one based on Bloody Roar X, and one featuring Link and Zelda lying on the ground. Finally, there's a collaboration heart section that displays collaborative artwork from different artists. One piece is a collection of cute, round characters, and the other features a group of anime-style characters in a Halloween setting. This page presents a selection of 4-panel comic strips, 4 Koma, created by readers, under the title Mario Sineita's 4 Koma Longhouse. The first comic, by Ami from Kanagawa Prefecture, features Link and Errol from The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, pondering the possibility of controlling Errol if Link were to disappear. Next, Kyoko from Gifu Prefecture presents a comic about Yoshi from the Mario series, and raises the question of what exactly makes the character Poochie a dog. Iwachi from Gunma Prefecture contributes a comic strip featuring the Pokemon Doog Trio, and a trainer taking photographs. Maiko and Sakai from Hiroshima Prefecture collaborate on a comic strip that features characters from Capcom, and they also ponder the meaning of a tattoo. Muram Lemon from Kanagawa Prefecture contributes a drawing of people playing with Link from The Legend of Zelda. San from Kanagawa Prefecture has an illustration with a screenshot of Pokemon. Fujino Kana from Fukuoka Prefecture presents a comic about a white Link from The Legend of Zelda. Island from Okayama Prefecture presents a comic about Kirby. He is fat in winter and is drawing art in the autumn. Donketsu from Fukuoka Prefecture features Link and Zelda from The Legend of Zelda, and they explore themes of cold weather attire. Donketsu from Fukuoka Prefecture also has a comic about the Mario Brothers. This page showcases reader-submitted illustrations under the heading Illustration High-Rise Apartment Building. There are various fan art pieces, including Roy from Fire Emblems, characters from Zoids, and even a comical take on Pataliro. There's also fan art for Black Matrix Zero, Turok, New Generation, and Rune. Other games represented include Lupin III as Mario, The Legend of Zelda, Rockman XE, Super Mario Sunshine, and Star Fox. The page includes comments from the editorial staff about the art, sometimes mentioning the artist's name and location. The illustrations vary in style and subject matter, reflecting the artist's personal preferences and interpretations of popular video game characters. One illustration is of a younger version of Princess Zelda. This page showcases fan submissions with the theme of Pokémon.
There's a collection of fan art with comments from the editorial staff and location of the artist. Featured art includes a group shot of various Pokemon with their trainers, artwork of characters from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, and a drawing of Misty and Ash. Other drawings include Pokemon as a fishmonger, characters riding bicycles, and artwork with the theme of books and reading. Other games mentioned are Mother 2, Kirby, and also there is a panel advertising artwork for the first publication hall. The next page is dedicated to fan submissions, featuring illustrations and fan letters from readers of all ages. There's a section for illustrations by artists under 10, with artwork featuring characters like Pikachu and Kirby. There's also a section for fan letters, with readers expressing their appreciation for specific artists and requesting certain characters or scenarios. Games mentioned include The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. There's also a drawing of a noodle dish called Kitsune Udon. Finally, there are instructions on how to submit artwork and fan letters to the magazine, including information on deadlines and submission guidelines. The next page dives into the world of Zoids and Super Robot Wars R, revealing hidden units and pilot acquisition methods. It highlights new Zoids added via command inputs, including Diablo Tiger Alpha and Cyclops Type 2. The page details how to unlock these Zoids by entering specific voice test sequences in the game's config menu. It provides a list of voice samples to play in order to unlock these units, featuring quotes from characters like Bit, Straw, Linon, and others. The section on Super Robot Wars R unveils hidden units and pilot recruitment strategies. It lists several hidden units, such as the mass production New Gundam and Gundam Leopard Smiles 1, and outlines the specific conditions required to acquire them, like completing certain scenarios or achieving specific milestones. For example, to get the mass production New Gundam, the player must prevent the fall of 5th Luna within 7 turns in the Lala Kaiarm Route's 2nd episode. The bottom of the page features copyright information for various companies involved in the creation of the featured content. This page features a collection of tips and tricks for various games, starting with Street Fighter 03, Street Fighter Alpha 3 for the GBA. It details how to unlock hidden characters and modes. To unlock hidden characters such as Shin Guki, you must complete single-player mode with different characters. The page also lists hidden isms, which are unlocked by clearing survival mode battles. Next, there's Sega Soccer Slam for the GameCube, showcasing 9 secret command inputs that unlock various modes like All Stadiums, Big Hit Mode, and even a special Earthball. Additionally, there's a segment on Harukanaru Toki no Nakade for the GBA, giving tips on how to maximize character stats by collecting items. And there is an article asking readers to contribute dream techniques. Finally, there is an article on The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64, showcasing a player who cleared the game with only 3 hearts, and a corner that showcases players doing crazy things with games and asking for contributions. The next page is promoting the Gathering Bug Academy, focusing on Eternal Darkness and PSO. The reviewer mentions that Eternal Darkness was initially compared to Resident Evil when first seen. It also highlights how the game messes with sanity, causing visual and auditory hallucinations. There's a mention that the reviewer thinks the game is worth playing even with potential spoilers and is a must experience. There are some screenshots included, such as the sanity meter and creepy imagery that contributes to the horror theme. This page covers online play in Phantasy Star Online, PSO, starting with an article titled, PSO Online Communication. The reviewer expresses surprise if anyone hasn't played SOPSO yet, and highlights various ways to play online, particularly praising the Miroku troupe, and the reviewer found it impactful. The next section talks about recycling unused items, stating that items should not be discarded in the game, because another player may need it. The page shows players gathered in a recycle shop area. The page then announces the start of online events in Spaso, specifically a limited-time Halloween event provided by Sega. The reviewer notes that these events will continue to be distributed and change the scenery, BGM, and other aspects of the game. There is a Halloween event with a special pumpkin-headed character. The page also highlights circle activities, guilds or groups, mentioning that members naturally gather over time to create new ways to play together. Ideas include mag nurturing and stage viewing. The Miroku troupe is then highlighted. This is a player-run theater group that performs shows using lobby actions and symbol chats, Performances last 15 minutes with 4 showings, and there is information on where and when to watch their performances. The reviewer encourages players to come see a performance. This page is an advertisement for the Game Boy Advance game, New Soft Flash, a base fishing simulation. The page highlights the game's features, including board game-style map navigation and strategic elements in fishing. You can fish in shallow, medium, and deep waters. The page introduces the main characters. The protagonist, a second-year middle school student, is motivated by the prospect of receiving a kiss from his crush, Mai-chan, if he wins the bass fishing tournament. There is also a cool and skilled rival named Satoru. The staff from the Twin B series contributed to the character designs. The screenshots show the map screen with fishing spots and the fishing gameplay. You can even change your tackle, and the graphics are impressive for a GBA game. The next page showcases 3 Game Boy Advance games. First up is Elevator Action Old and New, a revival of the classic arcade game where you infiltrate buildings as a spy. This version features updated graphics and a new 2-player mode. Next is Minimoni, Okashi Nahoshi-sama, a collection of minigames featuring the J-pop group Minimoni. The screenshots show a variety of colorful and simple games. Lastly, we have 2 games from the Simple 2960 series. Volume 1, the Table Game Collection, featuring Mahjong, Shogi, Hanafuda, and Reversi, and Volume 2, the Block Kuzushi, a block-breaking game. Both allow up to 4 players with 1 cartridge. Screenshots show characters and gameplay for both games. This page is an advert for guidebooks from Nintendo Dream. The page highlights a rush of strategy guides for Nintendo Dream. 3 titles are doing well: Kirby, Nightmare in Dreamland, releasing November 22nd, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, releasing November 22nd, and Mario Party 4, releasing December early. Kirby, Nightmare in Dreamland is stated to be a horizontal scrolling action game, so it is being produced in horizontal format. Reader illustrations are being reviewed, and horizontal maps are easy to see in the format. Eternal Darkness.
Sanity's Requiem thoroughly covers each of the 12 chapters, with monster strategies, field maps, and investigations. Detailed maps are in their final stages of production, and the game is described as having an addictive charm. Mario Party 4 has 60-plus minigames and is being tested for strategies. Below these are guidebooks from October that are bestsellers. Star Fox Adventures is a B5 size, 128-page guidebook priced at 950 yen, with character and basic knowledge, story walkthroughs. It has easy-to-understand item and gimmick placement and a top-down CG map, with flowchart-style walkthroughs and detailed maps. Super Mario Advance 3, Yoshi's Island, is a 5-size 256-page guidebook priced at 1,200 yen for a complete 100 guide. It has easy-to-view horizontal pages that let you grasp the whole map, and every detail has an explanation. It includes guides to Yoshi's Island and covers all the tricks for 100% completion. The next page is a Nintendo GameCube software catalog, divided by genre. It features upcoming titles with screenshots and brief descriptions. The page includes Super Monkey Ball 2, where you roll a monkey, Kinnikuman 2, New Generation vs. Legendary Supermen, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, Melee. The list continues with Sonic Mega Collection, featuring Sonic games from the Mega Drive era, Bomberman Jetters, Bakuten Shoot Beyblade 2002, Fierce Battle, Magnattack Battle, and Soul Calibur 2 for the GameCube. Also listed is Spider-Man, Rollorama, using the tilt sensor, Wario World GC, and Rockman XZ Transmission. Catalog concludes with Naruto Clash of Ninja, a fighting game based on the popular anime, Sonic Adventure 1, Virtua Fighter Quest, Shaman King, Soul Fight, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, Eternal Arcadia Legend, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and Rune 2. The catalog notes that 4 new titles are being introduced with Naruto as a notable title. The next page is a GameCube software catalog showcasing upcoming games. It starts with RPGs, including Tales series, tentative title, and a new RPG from the Xenosaga staff. Also listed is Gift Pia, tentative title,
From Skip, the developers behind the PS1 game Moon. Next are adventure games such as Batman: Dark Tomorrow, delayed until next spring, Biohazard 2, a port of the PlayStation version, Biohazard 3, Last Escape, another port, and Lupin III, The Mystery of the Sinking Treasure. Biohazard 4, tentative title. A GameCube exclusive. Biohazard Code, Veronica Complete Edition. And the simulation game, Bokujo Monogatari, Wonderful Life, also feature. Top Gun, Ace of the Sky, rounds out the new titles. A shooting game inspired by the movie Top Gun. The next section features shooting games like Space Raiders, Ikaruga, Metroid Prime, and Star Fox. Lastly, the page features racing games such as Mobile Suit Gundam, Choro Q, Zero GC, tentative title, Ridge Racer, GT Cube, Grand Heat, YY Golf, and the sports game NBA Live 2003. The catalog corrects an error from the previous issue, clarifying that the Kinnikuman character they referred to was Puripriman, not Oshiriman. The next page is another GameCube software catalog, focusing on various genres. It starts with sports games, like FIFA 2003, featuring European teams and real player names. Evolution Skateboarding and Evolution Snowboarding are included, alongside 1080° GC, working title, Disney Sports, American Football, and Disney Sports, Basketball. The Baseball 2003 Battle Ballpark Declaration and Definitive Edition, Nippon Pro Baseball, are also listed, featuring real players and manga-style special moves. Mario Golf GC, working title, and Mario Tennis GC, working title, are also shown. Puzzle games like Tetris Worlds and Mr. Driller Drill Land are listed. Party games such as Mario Party 4 and Muscle Champion Muscle Island Battle are also featured, alongside Momotaro Dentetsu 11 and Dokapon DX. The right side of the page has a list of already released GameCube titles, with prices and block counts. The magazine apologizes for a previous error in naming a Kinnikuman character, clarifying it was Puripriman. The next page is an advertisement for the Game Boy Advance game Elemix. It's subtitled Magical Adventure Fantasy and showcases the main character, Skip, who is described as inheriting the elemental ring and wielding the power of nature. The game is set in a world where magic shapes everything. The ad announces the first comic adaptation of the game, alongside the release date of January 3, 2003. The text includes lines from the manga panel, where Skip returns to his hometown after his training, looking nostalgic. This page is a comic panel promoting the Game Boy Advance game Elemix. Mel welcomes Skip back, noting he is home after his training. Skip is looking forward to Skip's favorite cream stew. However, they're interrupted by the smell of smoke and discover that the town is on fire. They rush off to see what's happened. The next page is from Nintendo Dream Volume 79, released on December 6, 2002. It teases the next issue, Volume 80, which will be released on November 21st, promising a special feature on The Legend of Zelda. The issue will coincide with the release of Bio Zero and Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. There's a section called Editor's Voice, with comments from the editorial staff. One editor mentions cutting back on drinking, while another discusses attending a baseball game. There's also a comment about covering the online game Piso, and another about a band called Faust. One more talks about buying a progressive TV, and another about attending a Japanese series baseball game. A small section is dedicated to World of Flyers, featuring flyers from the game The Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, Famicom Disk System, released in 1987. The page includes contact information for the editorial department, and credits the staff, including editors, designers, photographers, and illustrators, like Yamamori Takashi, Hidari Akira, Takashima Hisao, and Taneichi Masumi. This page is a full-page advert for the Game Boy Advance game Elemental Gelade, Elementar Gerard. You play as Skip, a prince who can transform into 3 elemental forms to fight monsters and protect the land. The game features an automatic difficulty adjustment, chase scroll system, and a beat system. This page is an advertisement for the Game Boy Advance game Super Mario Advance 3, Yoshi's Island plus Mario Bros. The game is a remake of the Super Famicom title Yoshi's Island and includes Mario Bros. As a bonus. It is a 14-player action game and is compatible with the Game Boy Advance. The price is 4,800 yen, excluding tax. The page features artwork of various characters from the game. It is compatible with Game Boy Advance only.